Uh, hello. Nice. Okay, the audio's working. Let's go with it. Okay, let me get that pop-up chat on. Totally a good thing to do on stream. Hey man, it's always good to have. Oh, my first person here. Pa is here. Hello. Hello, Pa. How you doing? Hope your day's going well. Man, fucking. Give me a second. Hello. Like, hey, how are you? I'm good. Good to know. Good to know. How you been? Yeah, welcome to my VICCATHON where I stream till I get somewhere. You sound more sick than yesterday. Hey man, I do whatever it takes to entertain the people of this place. God, just got a little sniffles. He's fine. He's fine. It shows me that I'm live now. God damn it. It's fine though, at least it's showing. God. You should also take care of yourself. The funny story about this is this is like the first challenge I got to myself. I don't know how many days I'm gonna last in this challenge, but you know, as long as I can, we'll do it. Yeah. Anyway, what should I do today? I don't know. I don't even have. Should I invest on something so I can do something on stream instead of just playing EGO games? I should just play video games for now because, you know, I don't want to like jump into something weird. You know what? I should jump into something weird. Okay, the funny story. You guys know ARG, right? ARG. You guys remember those? ARG spooky horror games? Yeah, I found a new series. I don't think they're making themselves serious. Okay, let's see. If your dog starts laughing, yeah, there's this. Yeah, Red Signals Archive. These guys. So there are so many videos on these people. Pretty cool, in my opinion. I'm gonna watch from oldest to new. They're only uploading for the past 3 months. I said they're only uploading for the past 3 months, and they have so much content here. So I'm like, are these guys are, you know, these guys are dedicated. They have I should watch them totally. Let's hope they don't have anything copyright, but they, you know what I mean? Okay, cool. I love the thumbnails they have. Okay, this is a react stream. I don't care. Just let's do it. Let's do this. Let's do the goo. Yeah, this. Yeah. There's gonna be a react stream. I watched it like this minge, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to watch any further. I want to do this on a stream. So, you know, yeah. Super fun, you know. Okay, uh-oh. Add time? I don't want to add. I'm gonna pause because I'm scared. And I'm gonna boop. And I'm also gonna turn off the music because it's stupid. It's not stupid, it's a really good music, but it's stupid in this. You guys know what I mean. Oh, I know that. Yeah, you guys know that. Okay, full screen mode. Oh. Okay. Pause. Do you guys hear the audio? Audio? Okay, I'm gonna make this into a friend audio. Chrome. Because apparently there's no one's watching with me, so.
Nation Center. Please listen closely and follow the instructions. This is not a drill. If your dog begins exhibiting unusual vocal behaviors, particularly sounds resembling human laughter, secure your home immediately and do not attempt to interact with the animal.
Okay, pause immediately. This is too clean to be an ALG. It should be like shaky videos. Like you have to add another like 3,000 layers of glitch effect on it. Then loud, very loud. Okay, give me a second. Very loud. Okay. Give me a second.
Over the past 11 days, we have received 47 reports from across 3 counties describing identical behavioral anomalies in domestic
Is this good?
canines. The pattern began on June 8th with
This is good. Pause is good.
our dispatch centers. What initially appeared to be isolated incidents of pet distress has escalated into a coordinated response involving animal control, local law enforcement,
Not too low. Okay, never mind.
emergency medical services. The first documented case occurred in Millbrook at approximately 2:15 a.m. A family of 4 contacted emergency services after their golden retriever began producing sounds that
Perfect.
witnesses
Nice. Thank
described
you.
as distinctly human in nature. The animal exhibited no other signs of distress or illness. Within 6 hours, similar reports emerged from Oakfield and Cedar Ridge. By June 10th, we had logged reports from 14 different households across a 40-mile radius. Our investigation teams have identified a clear progression of behaviors that appear consistent across all reported cases. The phenomenon shows no preference for breed, age, or size of animal. Both indoor and outdoor dogs have been affected. What connects these incidents is not the animals themselves, but the specific vocal patterns they produce and the escalating nature of their behavior over time. A couple on Granger Hill reported the first incident we were able to document in detail. Sarah Martinez was preparing for bed when she heard what she initially thought was her neighbor's television. The sound was coming from her backyard where her border collie, Rex, was housed for the night. When she looked through the kitchen window, she saw Rex sitting perfectly still in the center of the yard, head tilted upward toward the sky. The laughter was coming from him. It wasn't like any sound I'd ever heard from a dog, Sarah told our response team. It started low, almost like whimpering, but then it changed. It sounded like a child giggling, but wrong somehow. Too deep, too knowing. Her husband, Michael, attempted to approach Rex, but the animal continued the vocal behavior without acknowledging his presence. The laughter continued for approximately 20 minutes before stopping abruptly. Rex then behaved normally for the remainder of the night. The following evening, a similar incident occurred on Maple Street. Jennifer Walsh was watching television with her family when their beagle, Charlie, began the same vocalization pattern from his bed in the living room. Unlike the Granger Hill incident, Charlie was looking directly at the family while producing the sounds. Jennifer's 8-year-old daughter became hysterical, claiming that Charlie was laughing at something behind us. When the family turned to look, nothing was visible. The laughter continued for 37 minutes. The worst part wasn't the sound itself, Jennifer later reported. It was how Charlie was looking at us, like he knew something we didn't, like he was in on some joke we couldn't understand. The family spent the night at Jennifer's.
So they didn't mind a dog laughing like a normal person. That's totally normal, family.
Mother's house. When they returned
That's totally
the next
normal.
morning,
Of course,
Charlie
that's
appeared
normal.
normal but refused to eat or drink for 2 days. More disturbing was the incident reported by the Henderson family in Riverside. Their German Shepherd, Duke, began the laughter pattern at 3:20 a.m., waking the entire household. Unlike previous cases, Duke's laughter was accompanied by what witnesses described as responsive behavior. The family reported hearing answering laughter that seemed to come from outside their home, though no source was ever identified. Duke would laugh, then stop and tilt his head like he was listening, reported James Henderson. Then we'd hear it from outside. Different pitch, but the same rhythm. They were having a conversation. The Henderson family contacted police, who arrived to find Duke still engaged in the behavior. Officer Patricia Reeves documented sounds she described as two distinct vocal patterns, one clearly from the dog, one unidentified. The external sounds ceased when police arrived, but Duke continued laughing for another hour. Later that night, more calls came in from the Riverside area. 3 additional families reported their dogs engaging in the same behavior simultaneously between 3 and 4 a.m. One caller, Maria Santos, reported that her dog appeared to be responding to signals from other animals in the neighborhood. The dogs would laugh in sequence, creating what witnesses described as a...
Okay, I'm gonna pause for a second. You guys realize that the heartbeat in the back is getting a little louder? Is there a freaking jump scare at the end of the video? Let me make sure. I don't think there's any, but the heartbeat is getting a little louder, and I'm
chain reaction.
expecting a jump scare. So yeah,
from house to house.
just FYI, you know.
4 distinct stages in the behavioral progression. Understanding these stages is critical for your safety and the safety of your family. Stage 1 begins with restlessness in your pet approximately 6 to 8 hours before the vocal behaviors manifest. Your dog may pace, refuse food, or fixate on specific areas of your home, particularly windows and doors. They may spend extended periods staring at empty spaces or corners. Some owners report their pets appearing to track invisible movement with their eyes. This stage typically lasts between 4 and 12 hours. Stage 2 is the onset of the laughter itself. The sounds begin quietly, often mistaken for normal dog vocalizations or electronic interference. The laughter gradually increases in volume and clarity until it becomes unmistakably human-like. During this stage, your dog will remain conscious and aware, but will not respond to commands or attempts at interaction. This stage can last anywhere from 20 minutes to several hours. Stage 3 involves what we term responsive behavior. Your dog will appear to be listening to or communicating with an unseen presence. They may pause their laughter, tilt their head, then resume with...
No, I don't think there's no jump scare. Sounds like an obvious trap, but I will still be expecting some.
Witnesses report feeling as though their pet is responding to
There's no some jump scare, says it in a freaking horror ARG.
This is when the external responding sounds typically begin.
If there isn't any, good for them. But you know.
Your dog will move to a specific location in your home, usually near an exterior door or window, and maintain the laughter while fixating on that exit point. They may scratch at doors or windows while continuing the vocalization. Under no circumstances should you allow your pet outside during this stage. Witnesses who have done so report
That would
their
be a
animals
skinwalker.
vanishing
I don't know
immediately
about
upon crossing the
skinwalker.
threshold. If your dog begins...
Skinwalkers are super interesting because, like, I don't think they can immediately just they can immediately replace them, or even though they replace them, they won't look like the dog at all or behave like the dog at all. Every skinwalker incident we know is like it scares off the dog, and it tries to look like a dog. Like it's always happens in the dog. Like the guy who's like recording this cannot see the figure, so it looks like a dog, but it's a little taller, bigger hind legs, you know, like a human trying to imitate a dog, and its bark is gonna be different. It was the same bark, but it's all long, kinda. So yeah, I think this is just the dogs doing it. What the dog doing? Yeah. So yeah, I don't know about skinwalkers, but you know, we will see. We will see them in the series, I think, because there's so many, so many. If this happens, runaway titles and these things. So yeah, let's see. Let's see.
Exhibiting these behaviors, follow these instructions carefully. First, secure all exterior doors and windows immediately. Do not attempt to comfort or restrain your pet. The animals do not appear to be in distress, and intervention may escalate the situation. Document the time and duration of the episode, but do not attempt to record the sounds electronically. Multiple witnesses report that recording devices malfunction during these events. Keep other
Obvious,
family
totally.
members, particularly children, in a separate room from the affected animal. Children appear to be more susceptible to the psychological effects of the laughter, and several have required medical attention for anxiety responses.
Oh yeah, the kid was hysterical the moment the kid saw the dog walk, like laughing. So yeah, the kid became hysterical, quote unquote, the moment he listened to the dog laughing. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It affects kids, I think.
Do not attempt to force feed or medicate your pet during an episode. The animals will return to normal behavior patterns once the episode concludes. Most importantly, do not allow your pet outside until at least 24 hours after the episode ends. The 3 families who permitted their dogs outside during Stage 4 reported their pets walking directly into wooded areas or fields and disappearing. Search efforts have been unsuccessful. These animals have not been recovered. The phenomenon appears to be spreading. What began in rural areas has now reached suburban neighborhoods. Our dispatch centers are receiving reports from locations previously unaffected. We have documented cases as far as 60 miles from the original incident zone. The episodes are also increasing in frequency and duration. Emergency veterinary services report no physical abnormalities in affected animals. Blood work, neurological examinations, and behavioral assessments conducted after episodes show normal results. Dr. Catherine Webb from the Regional Animal Medical Center states that the animals appear to be physically healthy, but responding to external stimuli we cannot identify or measure. Multiple attempts to identify the source of the responding laughter have been unsuccessful. Sound engineers brought in to analyze audio from affected areas report equipment malfunctions and inconclusive results. Thermal imaging shows no heat signatures corresponding to the external sounds. Motion sensors trigger without visible cause during episodes. One detail has emerged that concerns our response teams.
College students get free Gemini upgrade.
Go away. Yep. Stupid.
Family, whose German Shepherd was involved in one of the earliest documented cases, reported an additional incident
Jump
3 days
scare.
after Duke's initial
I
episode.
had a jump
They
scare.
were
Yeah.
awakened by familiar laughter coming from their backyard. When they investigated, Duke was inside the house, sleeping normally. The laughter continued for 20 minutes with no identifiable source. It was Duke's laugh, Jennifer Henderson reported. The exact same sound, the exact same rhythm. But Duke was right there next to us, not making any noise at all. Similar reports have come from 4 other locations where dogs experienced the original episodes. We want to emphasize that affected animals do not appear to be suffering. They resume normal behavior patterns after episodes conclude and show no lasting physical effects. However, the psychological impact on families has been significant. Several households have relocated temporarily. Others report ongoing anxiety about future episodes. The laughing behavior appears to be contagious among animals in close proximity. If one dog in your neighborhood begins an episode, monitor your own pets closely. The chain reaction effect documented in Riverside has been observed in 2 other locations. Dogs up to half a mile apart have synchronized their vocalizations. Do not attempt to investigate the source of external responding sounds. 3 residents who left their homes during episodes to locate the source have reported disorientation and memory gaps. 1 individual was found 6 hours later in a wooded area 12 miles from her home with no recollection of how she arrived there. We are coordinating with state and federal agencies to determine the cause of these incidents. Additional resources are being deployed to affected areas. Veterinary teams are standing by to assist with animal welfare concerns. However, we cannot emphasize strongly enough the importance of following the safety protocols we have outlined. If your dog exhibits these behaviors, remain calm and secure your home. Do not go outside. Do not allow your pet outside. Contact emergency services to report the incident. But understand that our response may be delayed due to the volume of calls we are receiving. This broadcast will repeat every 2 hours on this frequency. If you lose radio contact during an episode, this is normal. Service typically resumes when the episode concludes. Stay indoors until normal communications are restored. Remember, the animals do not appear to be in distress. They are responding to something we do not yet understand. Your safety depends on not joining that response. When the laughter stops, when the house goes quiet, when your dog returns to sleep as if nothing happened, that silence may be the most dangerous sound of all. This
Okay.
message is issued by...
Shut up. Okay. Okay, is this the actual next video or am I just getting a random? Come here. Videos. Video. Come on. Do it fast. Do it. Freaking YouTube AI, man. The fuck? Go away. Oh. Okay, cool. We got the... Okay. You're not showering alone. Of course, man. Come on. Oh, you said no jump scares? Of course, man. Come on. Yeah, we can clearly see there's no jump scares gonna be here. Come on. Don't be silly Billy. Don't be a silly hilly Billy. Come on. Yeah. That's my mom. She said if I feel sick. Oh wait, it's on top. I'm an idiot. Oh god, I'm stupid, man. Wait. Is this the... Oh, freaking... Is that the... Okay. Some of them are a lot more believable. Oh. He's no longer your father. Whoa. Whoa, they quick scoped my dad. Damn, dude. Damn. Oh god. Oh no. Oh no, my dad. God, I love this.
This message is issued by the Emergency Coordination Center. Please listen closely and follow the instructions. This is not a drill. If your father begins exhibiting the behavioral patterns described in this broadcast, evacuate your home immediately and seek assistance from designated safe locations. Over the past 16 days, we have received 73 reports from families across 4 counties describing identical
73 dads left for milk and never came back.
Specifically fathers and father figures.
Oh
the pattern
no.
began on June 3rd with isolated calls to our family crisis hotlines. What initially appeared to be domestic stress incidents has escalated into a coordinated response involving social services, law enforcement, and emergency psychiatric intervention teams. The first documented case occurred in Thornfield, her husband David, father to their 2 young children, had begun exhibiting what she described as purposeful, strange behavior that evening. David had spent 4 hours arranging and rearranging items in their garage with mechanical precision, speaking in whispers to himself throughout the process. When Rebecca approached to ask what he was doing, David turned to her with what she described as the wrong expression on his face. Within 72 hours, similar
What do you mean, wrong expression on his face? Was he smiling? That's the wrong expression when you're arranging something, man.
reports emerged from Westbridge, Pine Valley, and Clearwater Heights. The affected individuals showed no prior history of mental health issues, substance abuse, or domestic problems. Medical examinations conducted on volunteers revealed no neurological abnormalities, drug interactions, or physical ailments that could explain the behavioral changes. Our investigation...
Okay, I have a question. Like, every time there's authorities and doctors comes by, how are they even gonna test this? Imagine this. Let's imagine that this is some cosmic wave coming, like this freaking like heat wave comes up and it scrambles a particular wavelength of people. How are they even gonna like know this? Obviously, the whatever we have on our hand is we are beyond under equipped for measuring anything like that. So I'm just wondering, how are they even like tell? How are they gonna tell if something is going on? You know what I mean? It's like it's like going inside a room and this completely new strain of infection goes around, and the guys comes around and be like, "Oh, we have no clue what's going on." That's all they can do. Like, they have no clue what's going on, but all our test says negative, so I don't think we can do much about this. That's all they can do. Like, if the test comes out negative, they have no clue what to do. I'm just confused. Like, how are these guys all even engaging this? This is obviously strange. If I'm in my office and someone called in and be like there's a freaking epidemic of people running off and never coming back, and I'm gonna be like, okay, what do you want me to do? Go there, talk to them? Like, it's not gonna help, especially on like basic neurological testing. It's not gonna help at all. Like, even though you run a freaking, I don't care, you run a freaking neurological hive test, it's not gonna work. Like, we are under equipped to handle anything like that. So yeah, I'm just confused. Like, these guys showing up for what exactly? Like, they're not helping. They're there to record it. That's all they can do. They record it. They can record incidents. They can, they can enter numbers in the computer. That's all they can do. It's not wrong. That's all they can do. If I was in there, that's all I could do. I could just record it. Interesting. Like, interesting. Just like removes my glasses, writes it down on a notepad. That's all I can do. That's all I could do. Unless some like special agent comes into this world. Men in Black guys.
That appears consistent across all reported cases. The phenomenon affects only adult males who serve as primary or secondary father figures in their households. Stepfathers, adoptive fathers, and live-in partners with parental responsibilities have all been documented as affected. The progression follows an identical pattern regardless of the individual's age, profession, or family structure. A mother of 3 in Oakwood Heights provided our first detailed account of the complete behavioral sequence. Linda Martinez noticed changes in her husband Carlos on a Tuesday evening. Carlos had returned from work at his usual time and followed his normal routine until approximately 8:30 p.m. He then announced he needed to check something important and went to the basement. He was down there for 2 hours, Linda reported. I could hear him moving around, but when I called down to ask if he needed help, he didn't answer. Not ignoring me, but like he genuinely couldn't hear me. When Carlos finally returned upstairs, he behaved normally for the remainder of the evening. Linda dismissed the incident until it repeated the following night, lasting 3
Jesus.
On the third night, Linda decided to investigate. She found Carlos standing motionless in the center of the basement, facing the far wall. He was holding a flashlight, though the basement lights were on. When she spoke his name, he turned toward her slowly, and she saw that his eyes were focused on something behind her, as though she were transparent. He looked through me, Linda said. Then he smiled, but it wasn't his smile. It was too wide, and his eyes didn't change. He said, "They're almost ready." When I asked who was ready, he looked confused, like he had just woken up. He had no memory of being in the basement. The following evening brought a more disturbing incident in Riverside.
No. Go ahead. Go away. Stupid. No, No, I don't want to play War Thunder now. Hey man, War Thunder, let's go. Sounds like an excuse to be a deadbeat. Hey man. Maybe he's secretly watching Molly Calliope. Does that matter? The first thing I see in the comments. The first thing I see in the comments is my dad comment. The first thing I see. Oh god, okay, War Thunder, thanks. War Hunter. Oh, thank god.
Patricia Wong called emergency services after her husband Michael began what she described as systematic preparation behavior throughout their home. Michael, father to their twin daughters, had spent the entire evening checking and rechecking locks, closing curtains, and moving furniture to block windows. He kept saying he was getting ready for them, Patricia reported. When I asked who they were, he would pause and look confused, then continue working. He moved our dining room table against the front door. He dragged our daughter's dresser in front of her bedroom window, all while talking to himself in this calm, methodical voice. Michael worked until 3 a.m., creating what witnesses described as a fortress-like environment throughout the house. When his daughters woke and asked why furniture was blocking their door, Michael looked at the barricades as though seeing them for the first time. He expressed genuine confusion about why the house had been rearranged and spent the next day returning everything to normal. More concerning was the incident reported by the Thompson family. Sarah Thompson contacted our hotline after her husband Gary exhibited what she termed predatory monitoring behavior toward their teenage son. Gary, typically a supportive and involved father, began following their son Marcus through the house, maintaining a distance of exactly 6 feet at all times. Gary would position himself where he could watch Marcus, but when Marcus noticed and waved or spoke to him, Gary would just stare, Sarah reported. Not angry staring, not concerned parent staring, like he was studying him, taking notes mentally. Marcus started staying in his room because it was making him so uncomfortable. The behavior escalated when Gary began appearing outside Marcus's bedroom door during the night. Sarah discovered him standing in the hallway at 2 a.m., facing their son's room, but not moving or making sound. When she approached, Gary explained that he was making sure Marcus stayed where he was supposed to be. Gary had no explanation for what this meant or why it was necessary. Later that night, more calls came in from the Thompsons' neighborhood. 3 other families reported their fathers engaging in similar monitoring behaviors with their children. The fathers would position themselves strategically throughout their homes to maintain visual contact with their kids, while exhibiting the same detached, observational demeanor. We have identified 5 distinct stages in the behavioral progression. Understanding these stages is critical for recognizing when evacuation becomes necessary. Stage 1 involves what we term preparation behavior. Your father will begin spending extended periods in basements, garages, or storage areas of your home. He may claim to be organizing, cleaning, or looking for specific items, but his activities will lack clear purpose or conclusion. During this stage, he may not respond to direct questions or may provide answers that don't match his actions. This stage typically lasts 3 to 5 days. Stage 2 is characterized by fortification activities. Your father will begin securing the home in ways that seem excessive or unnecessary. This includes additional locks, blocked windows, rearranged furniture, or stockpiling of supplies. He will refer to getting ready or preparing for them, but cannot provide specific details about what or who he expects. When questioned, he may become temporarily confused about his own actions. Stage 3 involves surveillance behavior, directed at family members, particularly children. Your father will begin monitoring household members with unusual...
Yeah, the first episode was also like affecting the kids too. Right, the laughter was affecting the kids. So for some reason, it's also getting the kids. I don't know why. Maybe they're like mentally weak. I think that's why. It's like the next to animals, it's children. So, you know, I think that's the reason why it's going after the kids. Like literally the next target.
intensity, maintaining visual contact whenever possible. He may follow family members from room to room, or position himself to observe multiple people simultaneously. His demeanor during this stage becomes detached and analytical, rather than protective or caring. Stage 4 is the onset of nocturnal positioning. Your father will begin spending hours during the night standing in hallways, doorways, or outside bedroom doors. He will claim to be ensuring family safety, but his explanations will be vague or contradictory. Family members report feeling watched even when alone. Children frequently request to sleep elsewhere during this stage. Stage 5 is the most dangerous. Your father will begin attempting to relocate family members to specific areas of the house, usually basements or rooms without exterior access. He will present logical reasons for these requests, such as safety concerns or family activities. Under no circumstances should you comply with relocation requests during this stage. If your father begins exhibiting these behaviors, follow these instructions immediately. First, document the timing and nature of his activities, but do so discreetly. Do not confront him directly about the behaviors or demand explanations. Affected individuals become agitated when their actions are questioned extensively. Maintain normal family routines as much as possible, but begin making preparations for rapid evacuation.
Sounds like they're
Identify
possessed.
multiple
Yeah.
exit routes from your home and ensure all family members know these routes. Keep important documents, medications, and emergency supplies easily accessible. Contact trusted neighbors or relatives who live outside the immediate area. During stages 1 through 3, you may remain in the home while making preparations. However, if your father enters stage 4, begin implementing evacuation plans. Do not wait for stage 5 behaviors to manifest. Several families who delayed evacuation beyond stage 4 have reported escalated incidents requiring law enforcement intervention. Most importantly, trust your instincts about safety. If your father's behavior makes you feel unsafe, regardless of the stage, evacuate immediately. The affected individuals are not making conscious choices during these episodes, and their judgment regarding family safety cannot be trusted. The phenomenon appears to be spreading through affected communities. Fathers who live within a 2-mile radius of documented cases show increased likelihood of developing the behavioral pattern. We have identified 3 distinct clusters where multiple fathers in the same neighborhood exhibited synchronized progression through the stages. Emergency psychiatric services report that affected individuals resist evaluation during episodes. When approached by medical personnel, they become defensive about their preparation activities and insist their behavior is necessary for family protection. However, they cannot articulate the specific nature of the threat they are preparing for. Dr. Michael Torres from Regional Mental Health Services notes
Go
that the
grab something
affected
to eat.
individuals
Like,
show
okay.
purposeful,
Enjoy.
goal-oriented
Grab
behavior
popcorn.
toward an undefined objective. Brain scans conducted on cooperative subjects show unusual activity in areas associated with threat assessment and protective instincts, but the responses are triggered by no identifiable external stimulus. Multiple attempts to identify environmental factors have proven inconclusive. The affected families show no common exposure to chemicals, media content, or other potential triggers. Water and air quality tests in affected areas reveal normal results. The only consistent factor is geographic proximity to other cases. One pattern has emerged that particularly concerns our response teams. In neighborhoods where multiple fathers are affected, the behavioral stages appear to synchronize. Families report their fathers entering each stage simultaneously, as though responding to shared signals or timing. The Morrison family, whose father David exhibited the complete behavioral sequence, reported an additional detail that highlights the importance of early evacuation. During David's stage 5 behavior, he began insisting that the family needed to go downstairs and wait quietly. When they refused, David became increasingly agitated, claiming that they were coming and the family needed to be in position. He kept checking his watch and looking toward the windows, reported Janet Morrison. He said we had 15 minutes to get downstairs before they arrived. When we asked who was coming, he looked genuinely frightened for the first time. He said he didn't know, but that's what he was supposed to do. The family evacuated through a rear window while David was checking the front door locks. We want to emphasize that affected fathers appear to believe they are protecting their families. Their actions, while disturbing, seem motivated by perceived threats rather than malicious intent. However, their judgment during episodes is severely compromised, and their definition of protection may involve dangerous isolation or confinement of family members. The behavioral changes appear to be temporary in most documented cases. Fathers who were separated from their families during episodes typically return to normal behavior within 72 hours of removal from the home environment. However, they retain no memory of their actions during the affected period. Do not attempt to reason with your father during episodes or convince him that his concerns are unfounded. Affected individuals become more agitated when their perceived threats are dismissed. Instead, appear cooperative while implementing safety measures discreetly. We are coordinating with state and federal agencies to determine the cause of these behavioral changes. Additional resources are being deployed to affected areas. Temporary housing assistance is available for families who require evacuation. Mental health support services are standing by for affected family members. Safe locations have been established in each affected county. These facilities are staffed with trained personnel and equipped to handle family units requiring temporary relocation. Contact information for these locations will be provided at the end of this broadcast. If your father exhibits these behaviors, trust your instincts and prioritize your safety above all other considerations. The individuals are not making rational decisions during episodes, and their protective instincts have been redirected toward unknown objectives. This broadcast will repeat every 3 hours on this frequency. If you lose communication during an episode, seek immediate assistance from law enforcement or emergency services. Do not attempt to handle the situation independently. Remember, the affected fathers believe they are protecting their families from an imminent threat. When they insist you need to hide, when they barricade the doors, when they whisper that they are coming, the most terrifying possibility is that they might be right.
Another ad
Hey,
jump
trading
scare.
strategies.
No,
Sorry, trading
freaking
strategies
I
का-
paused you, idiot. Whatever. She's no longer your father. That's like the most funniest thing you can give send me. This is good. This is good. What is even happening anymore? Oh. Wait, what's the next? Let's watch the next one. Oh, you know what? I should just do this. Instead of doing this, I could just it's the first one. Dino Land. No, 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 not the Dino Land. I don't want to watch the Dino Land. Okay, okay, cool. Let's go all the way down. Lock the door. Father doesn't belong to you. Okay, first of all, freaking YouTube. You see cat copycatting? Okay, I'm just gonna go to the channel. No, I don't want to look at Dino Land. God, freaking you! Why YouTube is stupid now? What the fuck? What in tarnation happened to YouTube? Do we have like a dog? Like, okay, if your cat copies you one, Jesus Christ, man.
By the Emergency Coordination Center. Please listen closely and follow the instructions. This is not a drill. We are issuing an urgent advisory regarding unusual feline behavior patterns observed across the region. Over the past 72 hours, our dispatch centers have received an unprecedented number of calls regarding domestic cats exhibiting what witnesses describe as copying or mimicking human behavior. What began as isolated reports from 3 counties has now spread to 17 different areas. The behavior appears to be escalating in both frequency and intensity. The first documented case came in Tuesday morning from a residence on Maple Street. Sarah Chen called to report that her 5-year-old tabby, Whiskers, had begun standing upright on his hind legs for extended periods, maintaining perfect balance while staring directly at her. She initially dismissed it as playful behavior until she noticed the cat was copying her exact posture whenever she stood at the kitchen counter.
No, that's
When she moved
cute.
to the living room, the cat followed and assumed the same stance, remaining motionless for nearly 20 minutes.
I love how I like, oh, the dog is laughing. Oh, that's horrifying. But the cat's mimicking human motions. Oh, that's so cute. I'm such a sucker for cats. I'm sorry, man.
What disturbed
My cat could be a freaking skinwalker. I don't care. I will still pet it and get killed. I don't care. A funny story about skinwalkers. We don't have skinwalkers here, by the way. We have worse, but you know. A funny incident. But we have a compound around the house. So there's a building was built near it, so it was half completed. But so it was at the height of our compound. So dogs, whatever dogs come out, they can literally just easily hop through the fence, like the compound around us. So one time dogs got in and I was sleeping. It was like 3 a.m. I was sleeping. I was a very sleepy boy. And I heard growling sounds. But normally I would be like, you know what, I should sleep this out. I should not go outside. But immediately I was like, wait, I have cats outside. Okay, I don't want this growling whatever killing my cat. And I literally just went out with the freaking tire iron. That's such a dumb thing to do. If I'm in a horror game, horror movie, that would be the dumbest thing I could do. Imagine I'm in the movie The Thing and I'm like, I hear a growling sound and I went outside. I would be, if I'm watching that movie, I would be like, who's the stupid idiot? Just goes outside. Who does that? And I just did it. I did that. I did the stupid thing where I go outside with a metal rod and I saw 2 dogs growling down. And I did not stand down. I was like, just start chasing them, and like I chased him. I did freaking laps around my house chasing him, and then my dad came out. He was like, oh, what's wrong, there's like dogs in our house, open the gates. And he opened the gate and I chased the dogs off of my compound. And yeah. That was funny. Everyone woke up. It was hilarious. I just feel like that's such a horror trope to talk about. That's such a horror movie thing. That's such a horror movie thing where the first character dies kind of thing to do. So yeah, it's so fucking funny now. Think about it. Yeah, right? Like that's such a the dumb character in a horror movie thing to do. And I just did it. I'm still alive for some weird reason. If that was a skinwalker, I would be dead. Thank God it was just normal doggos. It's fine. I chased them. I don't want to hit them. I still didn't want to hit them. They're still dogs. They have no clue what they're doing. Kill a couple of kittens too. I was very sad. I was very sad the next day. Man, that's sad. Anyway.
Mrs. Chen most was the cat's facial expression. She described it as too focused, like he was studying me instead of just playing. When she sat down, Whiskers would sit in the same position. When she crossed her legs, the cat would cross his paws. The behavior continued for 3 hours before the cat suddenly returned to normal activity, as if nothing had happened.
Just derpy cat, look at him. That's how they said it became back to normal, just that they just made the cat look stupid.
The couple on Granger Hill reported a similar incident that same evening. Mark Rodriguez was working late in his home office when he noticed his black cat, Luna, sitting at the desk chair opposite him. The cat had somehow positioned herself to mirror his exact posture. Back straight, front paws placed on the desk surface, head tilted at the same angle. Mark said he tried to dismiss it as coincidence until he deliberately changed positions. Each time he moved, Luna would adjust to match him perfectly. The unsettling part came when Mark stood up to get coffee. Luna followed him to the kitchen, walking upright on her hind legs with an awkward but determined gait. She maintained this position for the entire trip, never once dropping to all fours. Mark's wife, Lisa, found them in the kitchen. Her husband pouring coffee while their cat stood beside him, front paws raised as if holding an invisible cup. Lisa said the cat's eyes never left Mark's face, and there was something in that stare that made her skin crawl. Later that night, more calls came in from the Pine Valley subdivision. Janet Morrison reported waking up at 2 in the morning to find her Persian cat, Duchess, standing beside her bed in perfect imitation of her sleeping position. The cat was lying on her side, head on a small pillow she had somehow dragged from the couch, one paw tucked under her chin, exactly as Janet always slept. When Janet sat up, startled, Duchess immediately sat up as well, maintaining eye contact in the darkness. Janet tried to convince herself she was dreaming until she went to the bathroom. Duchess followed, and when Janet looked in the mirror, she saw the cat behind her, standing upright and appearing to examine her own reflection. Janet described the cat's expression as almost human, and said it seemed to be practicing facial expressions, tilting her head from side to side as if learning to mimic human mannerisms. The most disturbing report came from the Westfield neighborhood on Wednesday afternoon. Tommy Nguyen, age 12, called 911 to report that his orange tabby, Muffin, was acting like a person. The responding officer initially treated it as a
I would
prank
think it
call
would be
until Tommy's
cute.
mother, Dr.
Like, look at him, look
Nguyen,
at this little man
confirmed the
being
bizarre
doing little
behavior.
man things.
She explained that Muffin had spent the morning walking exclusively on his hind legs, sitting at the breakfast table with his paws positioned like hands, and even attempting to use utensils.
Yeah.
Dr. Nguyen, a veterinarian herself, was particularly disturbed by the cat's apparent attempts at vocalization. Muffin had begun making sounds that, while still recognizably feline, seemed to follow the rhythm and intonation of human speech. The cat would respond to questions with meow patterns that match the questioner's tone and cadence. Most unnervingly,
That would be so
Muffin
cute.
had started sleeping
Why is
in
this
Tommy's bed,
creepy?
positioned exactly like a human.
Okay, this is cat bias, obviously. Because the moment I said like the dogs are laughing, oh no, it's creepy, it's weird. The cats, it behaving like human. Oh, so cute. So adorable. I would love that. God. Oh god, no. You haven't survived in your horror game. So
Head on a
yeah.
pillow, body stretched out under
I mean, you know what, Pa? I think I won't. I won't survive a horror game because in a horror movie, if something goes like something like if something makes a sound, I will be the first man who be like, in the front, preferably with the weapon in my hand, running around amok, chasing things in the dark. That's what I do. Do you know the story where my like I literally just said the story. I'm literally saying it again for Pa. But yeah, like do you know like there were like dogs got into my compound and I was chasing them off my compound 3 a.m. in the morning where it was still dark. I literally figured out that there were dogs in my compound by growling sounds like behind my window because I live downstairs. So anything goes off, I can immediately hear it. And this wall immediately is like open space. So yeah, God, so many people are calling me. Give me a big lads. Okay, I'm back. Oh yeah, 3 in the morning. My cat likes to put her head on a pillow to sleep. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That would be cute. I don't know why it's creepy now. By the way, I'm back again. So yeah, I don't know why it's creepy to look like it. If my cat like walks on hind legs extended, I would look at it weird, but I won't be like horror game. Oh no, like I won't do that. I'll probably call it cute and move on. I want to see what if this escalates, if it kills people or something.
the covers, even keeping his paws folded on his chest.
That's
The
so
incident
cute.
escalated when Tommy tried to pet Muffin during one of these episodes. The cat immediately reached out with his paw and began stroking Tommy's hair in the exact same motion,
Aw.
maintaining the same gentle.
That is so cute. I don't know what is. Just petting me. Oh, so cute. It's so adorable. Oh god. This is a whole AOG. I don't know. It's really cute.
Pressure and rhythm. Tommy said it felt like being petted by a person wearing a cat costume, and the experience left him too frightened to sleep in his own room. An elderly man in River Heights called Thursday morning with a report that chilled even our most experienced dispatchers. Gerald Hoffman, 83, lives alone with his tortoiseshell cat, Patches. He reported that Patches had begun copying not just his movements, but his entire daily routine. The cat would sit at the breakfast table each morning, positioned upright with paws on the table, appearing to wait for food. When Gerald ate, Patches would make chewing motions with an empty mouth, perfectly timed to match his owner's eating pace.
Aww.
The behavior extended to Gerald's exercise routine. Each morning, Gerald does 20 minutes of light stretching. Patches now participates, standing on her hind legs and moving her front paws and body in precise imitation of Gerald's movements.
Aww.
Gerald said the cat's balance and coordination during these sessions was impossible. No cat should be able to maintain such complex upright positions for extended periods. What terrified Gerald most was the evening routine. He has a habit of reading in his armchair before bed, and Patches would now sit opposite him in another chair, holding a small object between her paws.
Oh.
Sometimes a toy, sometimes a piece of paper, and moving her head from side to side as if reading along. The cat's eyes would track across the page in perfect synchronization with Gerald's reading pattern. We have gathered these common stages based on witness reports and our own observations. Stage 1 begins with prolonged eye contact and basic posture mimicry. Your cat may start sitting or standing in positions that mirror your own, maintaining these poses for unusually long periods. The behavior typically occurs when you're engaged in routine activities, eating, reading, or working at a desk. Stage 2 involves more complex imitation, including walking patterns and vocalization attempts. Cats begin spending significant time on their hind legs,
This is so
following their
funny.
owners through daily routines while maintaining upright postures. They may begin talking in patterns that mimic human conversation, responding to questions with meow sequences that match the questioner's tone and rhythm. Stage 3 includes attempted tool use and advanced behavioral copying. Cats begin positioning themselves at tables, attempting to manipulate objects with their paws, and copying entire routines rather than individual actions. They may sleep in human positions, sit in
No.
chairs, and appear
Look
to
at 'em.
engage in activities that require
Look at
planning
him.
and
Look at
forethought.
that big man doing
Stage
little
4,
big man
observed in
things.
only a few cases so far, involves what witnesses describe as studying behavior. Cats spend extended periods watching their owners with intense focus, as if memorizing every detail of human behavior. They may position themselves at mirrors, appearing to practice expressions or movements. Several witnesses report feeling like they're being observed by something that's learning to be human. If you observe these behaviors in your cat, do not attempt to interrupt or stop them forcefully. Cats in mimicry stages have shown no aggression,
Yeah.
but sudden interruption may cause unpredictable reactions. Instead, quietly remove yourself from the area and avoid direct eye contact with the affected animal. Do not encourage the behavior by responding to vocal attempts or engaging with the cat while it's in an upright position. Keep other pets and children away from affected cats during episodes. While no injuries have been reported, we don't yet understand the full extent of behavioral changes. If your cat attempts to follow you during an episode, move to a room with a door you can close, but do not trap yourself in a space with no alternative exit. Do not use flash photography or bright lights around affected cats. Several witnesses reported that sudden illumination seemed to intensify the behavior and prolong episodes. Maintain normal lighting conditions and avoid anything that might startle the animal back to normal awareness too quickly. Most importantly, do not leave affected cats unsupervised with vulnerable individuals, particularly young children or elderly family members. While the behavior appears non-aggressive, the unusual strength and coordination cats display during these episodes suggests capabilities beyond normal feline limitations.
So the cats do nothing. They just mimic and do what? Nothing. It does nothing. Just mimics you, man. Come on, it's not a big deal. Just stands with you. Who cares?
The phenomenon is spreading faster than our initial models predicted. What began in 3 counties is now documented across 17 different areas, with new reports arriving hourly. Our field teams have observed that affected cats seem to be more common in neighborhoods where multiple cases have already been reported, suggesting some form of behavioral transmission between animals. Animal control officers report that affected cats are increasingly difficult to contain using standard methods. Several cats have demonstrated problem-solving abilities far beyond typical feline intelligence, including operating simple mechanisms and showing apparent understanding of cause and effect relationships. One cat in the Riverside district managed to open 3 different types of kennel latches before being successfully contained.
Oh, look at the
Our
smart
dispatchers
boy.
note a disturbing pattern in the timing of
It's just a
calls.
smart boy.
Reports
Come on.
typically come in during daylight hours, but witnesses consistently mention that the behavior began during late evening Nevertheless, cats may be practicing these behaviors when their owners are asleep or less observant. Motion-activated cameras installed in several homes have captured footage of cats maintaining upright positions for hours at a time, often staring directly at bedroom doors or areas where family members sleep. Veterinary examinations of affected cats show no physical abnormalities or signs of illness. Blood work, neurological tests, and behavioral assessments all return normal results. The cats appear healthy and show no distress during episodes. This has made containment and treatment decisions extremely difficult, as the animals show no signs of disease that would justify quarantine measures. If your cat begins exhibiting these behaviors, contact the Emergency Coordination Center immediately. Do not wait for the behavior to escalate. Early intervention may be crucial for preventing progression to more advanced stages. Our response teams are equipped to handle these situations safely, but time appears to be a critical factor. Remember that affected cats return to normal behavior between episodes. They may seem perfectly normal for hours or even days before displaying mimicry behaviors again. Do not assume the situation has resolved simply because your cat appears to be acting normally. The pattern suggests that episodes become more frequent and intense over time. This broadcast will repeat every 2 hours on this frequency. If you are unable to reach emergency services by phone, proceed to your nearest police station or fire department. Do not attempt to transport affected cats in personal vehicles unless absolutely necessary. Our mobile response units are better equipped to handle these situations safely. The silence between episodes is not a sign of improvement. It's a sign that they're learning. Stay vigilant. Follow the safety protocols, and remember, if you see your cat copying you, remove yourself from the situation immediately. What they're learning to imitate may be more than just your behavior. This has been an emergency broadcast from the Emergency Coordination Center. Please remain alert and report.
Yeah, I don't want another ad. Okay, I should open it in a new tab.
It's 9:15. How am I already underwater?
Ew, disgusting. I don't want you guys to see ad. This is too cute and non-threatening. Yeah, it is. Let's see if it's this spooky.
This is not a drill. We are currently investigating reports of individuals encountering what appear to be sleeping versions of themselves in their own homes.
Okay, that's creepy.
4 days, emergency dispatch
That's
centers
creepy.
across the tri-state area have received an unprecedented number of calls regarding a highly unusual phenomenon. These reports began Tuesday evening in suburban neighborhoods, but have since spread to urban apartments and rural properties. The pattern is consistent and deeply concerning. Residents are discovering what appear to be perfect physical duplicates of themselves lying asleep in their beds, while they themselves are fully awake and conscious. The first documented incident occurred at 11:47 p.m. on
Ew,
Tuesday,
that's creepy.
when a woman in Millbrook called 911 in a state of extreme distress. She reported finding herself asleep in her own bedroom while standing in her hallway.
You're
When
looking at
officers arrived, they
doppelgangers.
found the caller outside her home, refusing to enter. The bedroom appeared empty upon inspection, though the bed showed clear signs of recent occupancy. By Wednesday morning, 17 similar calls had been logged. By Thursday, that number had risen to over 200. What makes these reports particularly unsettling is their consistency. In every case, the discovery occurs during normal evening hours, typically between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. The individuals making these reports are found to be in perfect physical health, showing no signs of mental distress or substance influence. However, each describes the same overwhelming sensation of wrongness upon seeing their sleeping double. A man in Oak Ridge described his experience to our investigators. He had gotten up around midnight to get a glass of water, a routine he had followed for years. As he passed his bedroom, he glanced in and saw himself lying peacefully under the covers, breathing slowly and deeply. I stood there for maybe 30 seconds, he told us, just staring at myself. The hair was perfect, the way I sleep on my left side, even the small scar on my shoulder from when I was a kid. But I knew it wasn't right. I knew I was standing there looking at it, so how could I also be sleeping? He attempted to wake the sleeping figure by calling out, but received no response. When he approached the bed, he noticed something that made him immediately leave the house. The breathing was too perfect, he said, like it was being performed. And when I got close enough, I could smell something sweet, like flowers left too long in water. That's when I knew I had to get out. Later that same night, more calls came in from the Riverside district. A young mother discovered her sleeping double while checking on her infant daughter. The sleeping figure lay in the exact position she normally slept in, wearing the same pajamas she was currently wearing. When she tried to photograph the figure with her phone, the image appeared completely black, despite the room being well lit. I kept taking pictures, but they wouldn't come out, she reported. And then I noticed my baby had gone completely quiet. She wasn't crying, wasn't making any sound at all. She was just staring at something behind me. The woman turned around but saw nothing unusual. However, she described feeling an overwhelming urge to leave the house immediately. She gathered her daughter and drove to her sister's home, where she remained for the rest of the night. When she returned the following morning with her husband, the bedroom appeared normal, but she noticed that the sheets smelled strongly of that same floral scent other witnesses had described. In another case, a college student living alone in a downtown apartment made the discovery around 1:30 a.m. He had been studying for finals when he went to his bedroom to retrieve a textbook. There, he found himself sleeping peacefully, but something was immediately wrong with the scene. My real bed was kinda messy, he explained. I never make it properly, but this version was perfectly made, like a hotel bed, with me sleeping on top of the covers instead of under them. As he watched, he noticed that his sleeping double's chest rose and fell in a rhythm that was slightly too slow, as if breathing were being consciously controlled rather than automatic. When he spoke to the figure, its eyes opened immediately, but they were completely white. No iris, no pupil, just blank white. The figure sat up in bed and turned its head toward him, and he said the smile it gave him was his own smile, but stretched too wide, like someone who had studied how I smile but didn't understand why people smile. He ran from the apartment and spent the night in his car in a nearby parking garage. When building security checked his apartment the next morning, they found nothing unusual, but noted that the air conditioning had been running at full blast despite being set to off, and the temperature inside was nearly 40 degrees.
No, no, I don't wanna freaking add a jump scare. I need the thing is I could run ads, but god, it's copyright. Well, it's not like we're not gonna get any more copyright, but you know.
That witnesses typically experience inside was nearly 40 degrees. Through our investigation, we have identified 4 distinct stages that witnesses typically experience. Stage 1, initial discovery, occurs when the individual first encounters their sleeping double. During this stage, most people report feeling confused but not immediately frightened. The sleeping figure appears completely normal and peaceful. This stage typically lasts between 30 seconds and 2 minutes. Stage 2, growing awareness, begins when the witness notices subtle wrongness in the scene. The sleeping position may be too perfect, the breathing too controlled, or small details in the environment may be incorrect. During this stage, witnesses often report a growing sense of unease and the feeling that they are being watched. though the sleeping figure appears unchanged. Stage 3, direct interaction, occurs when the witness attempts to wake or otherwise interact with their sleeping double. This is when the most disturbing elements manifest. The figure may respond in unnatural ways, such as opening completely wide eyes, or may remain unresponsive while other environmental changes occur. Electronic devices often malfunction during this stage, particularly cameras and cell phones. Stage 4, environmental escalation, involves changes to the surrounding space that force the witness to leave. Temperatures may drop dramatically, unusual smells may become overwhelming, or the witness may experience the sensation of being observed by something they cannot see. In every documented case, witnesses report an overwhelming compulsion to leave their homes immediately during this stage. If you encounter what appears to be a sleeping version of yourself, do not attempt to wake it or interact with it in any way. Leave the room immediately and exit your home. The figure may appear harmless, but we have documented several cases where prolonged observation has led to more serious consequences. One man in Fairfield spent nearly 10 minutes watching his sleeping double, trying to understand what he was seeing. When he finally left the room, he discovered that 3 hours had passed, though he had no memory of the lost time. Do not attempt to photograph or record the sleeping figure. Multiple witnesses have reported that electronic devices malfunction when directed at these entities, and in some cases, the devices have continued to malfunction permanently afterward. One woman's phone began displaying her own sleeping face as the background image for every application, even after factory reset. If you live with others, do not bring them to witness the sleeping figure. In homes where multiple people have encountered the same sleeping double, we have documented instances of the observers becoming confused about which person is the original. This confusion can persist for days and has led to significant psychological distress. Leave your home immediately and do not return alone. Contact emergency services from a safe location away from your property. Do not call from inside the house where you made the discovery, as several witnesses have reported that their voices sounded different when making calls from those locations, and in some cases, the person who answered the call reported hearing 2 people speaking simultaneously. The pattern of reports suggests this phenomenon is spreading rapidly through residential areas. Our dispatch centers are now receiving an average of 40 new cases per day, with clusters appearing in neighborhoods where incidents have previously been reported. Several emergency responders have reported arriving at addresses to find them apparently empty, despite the residents calling from those locations just minutes earlier. We have also documented a concerning trend in missing person reports. Over the past week, 12 individuals who initially reported sleeping double encounters have failed to check in with investigators as scheduled. Their homes appear lived in and undisturbed, with no signs of struggle or hasty departure. However, neighbors report that lights in these homes turn on and off at unusual hours, and several have noted seeing the missing persons through windows, though they appear to be asleep even while standing or moving through their homes. One dispatcher described receiving a call from a woman who had reported a sleeping double encounter 2 days earlier. She was whispering, the dispatcher said, telling me she was hiding in her closet because she could hear herself walking around the house. But the footsteps were wrong, too heavy and slow, like someone learning how to walk in her body. The call ended abruptly, and when officers arrived at the scene, they found the house empty but with every light on and water running in all the sinks. We are working with federal authorities to understand and contain this phenomenon, but our investigation is ongoing. What we know for certain is that these encounters are not dreams, hallucinations, or psychological episodes. The physical evidence at each scene confirms that something unexplained is occurring in these homes. Until we can provide more definitive answers, treat any encounter with a sleeping version of yourself as an immediate threat to your safety. The sleeping figure may look like you, may even sound like you if it speaks, but it is not you. The real you is awake, aware, and reading this message right now. We will continue broadcasting this warning.
How do you know that? Maybe I'm the doppelganger, like figuring out this. How do you know? Chad, how do you know? How do you know that I'm the real dude? Come on. Don't be certain about anything,
Every
boy.
4 hours on all emergency frequencies. If you have experienced this phenomenon and have not yet contacted authorities, please do so immediately. If you know someone who reported a sleeping double encounter and have not heard from them in the past 24 hours, please check on their welfare. Remember, if you see yourself sleeping when you know you are awake, leave immediately. Your life may depend on not letting it wake up while you are still there. This message will repeat. Stay vigilant.
I won't. Thank you. Anyway, if I see myself sleep, will you still asleep? Wait, the real you is still asleep? So, oh, you were you were replaced in your every time more, but you. That these like titles are hilarious, by the way. That's an ad. That's an ad. I know it's an ad. Mute it. Mute it. Mute it. Mute it. Mute. 43 seconds of bullshit. Oh, it's still mute. What the fuck? Oh my god. YouTube is stupid on
Issued
PC.
by the Emergency Coordination Center. Please listen closely and follow the instructions. This is not a drill.
Wait, what? What? No, what's the other one? Remember? Wait, whoa, okay, whoa, okay. Hold up. Oh, I'm stupid. Give me a second. Okay. There's just me. Who cares? Who cares about me? Give me a second. God, like, why the UI becomes dumb? What? Don't worry. Getting there. I'm getting there. Oh my god. Yeah, I saw this thing. I saw this. The real you still sleep. Yeah, I saw this. This is the next one, right? Hey, I'm gonna wait till Paul responds, man. I don't know. Which other one? No, what's the other one? No. She was freaking clashing out, dude. Okay, which one should I watch, Paul? Which one should I watch? You choose. Look at the 25-year-old one. 25-year-old one? 25 years old? Wait, what? Wait. 25 years one? Where? 25 years? She's no longer your father. The fucking I love the thumbnails in this, man. I love the thumbnail. Oh, this one. They warned us in 2000. This one? This one? I know I'm stupid. Please bear with me. You want me to see this one before this? You sure? Okay. Guys. I'll be right back. Signal alive 25 years. Too late. Where's that? Like, to go down. Oh, okay, yes, that one. Yes, I'm sure. Okay. I will see this and I will see this. And I will like go in. Okay, so yeah, it's fine. Oh, that's an ad. Ad, mute. I don't care. Who are you loyal to? I don't do those. Skip. My god, freaking AI. Sorry, UI. Why the UI is stupid?
Reports of temporal signal anomalies for the past
Okay, I'll be
14
right
months.
back. You guys keep
And
watching
what
this.
I've uncovered
I will come
reveals a
back and rewatch
conspiracy
this.
that
I'll
reaches
be.
the highest levels of government and corporate power. After obtaining classified documents from multiple intelligence agencies and interviewing former government officials who've agreed to speak on condition of anonymity, I felt compelled to share these findings with you. What you're about to hear may disturb you, but you need to understand that the warnings we received in 2000 weren't random transmissions. They were deliberate attempts by our own future selves to prevent a catastrophe that the elite knew was coming and chose to hide from the public. It started when I obtained leaked NSA documents through a source I cannot name, detailing Operation Kronos Shield, a classified program initiated in December 1999. The documents reveal that the National Security Agency had been monitoring what they termed retro-temporal communications for months before the Millennium rollover. Unlike the public narrative of Y2K being a simple computer date bug, internal memos show that government scientists had discovered the year 2000 transition would create what they called temporal resonance windows that could allow information to travel backward through time. The initial discovery came from Dr. Elizabeth Thorne, a quantum physicist working for DARPA's Advanced Communications Division. According to classified reports I've obtained, Dr. Thorne's team detected the first temporal transmissions in September 1999 during routine monitoring of military communication satellites. These weren't the amateur radio reports that would later surface publicly. These were highly sophisticated data streams originating from coordinates that wouldn't exist for another 25 years, transmitted on frequencies that required technology decades beyond what was available in 1999. What Dr. Thorne's team discovered was that the temporal signals
Okay, I'm
weren't
back.
random.
I'm back. I'm sorry. I will see this from the beginning. I hope you guys don't mind.
I've been investigating reports of temporal signal anomalies for the past 14 months, and what I've uncovered reveals a conspiracy that reaches the highest levels of government and corporate power. After obtaining classified documents from multiple intelligence agencies and interviewing former government officials who've agreed to speak on condition of anonymity, I felt compelled to share these findings with you. What you're about to hear may disturb you, but you need to understand that the warnings we received in 2000 weren't random transmissions. They were deliberate attempts by our own future selves to prevent a catastrophe that the elite knew was coming and chose to hide from the public. It started when I obtained leaked NSA documents through a source I cannot name, detailing Operation Kronos Shield, a classified program initiated in December 1999. The documents reveal that the National Security Agency had been monitoring what they termed retro-temporal communications for months before the Millennium rollover. Unlike the public narrative of Y2K being a simple computer date bug, internal memos show that government scientists had discovered the year 2000 transition would create what they called temporal resonance windows that could allow information to travel backward through time. The initial discovery came from...
Okay, first of all, I know like the Y2K was like a big boy event, but I still have no clue what Y2K is. So I'm gonna look up Y2K. Y2K. What is Y2K? Oh, well, that's better. What is Y2K? Oh, the year 2000. That's it? The class of computer bugs related to the date beginning the year of 2000. Oh, that's it? Just 2000? Okay. It means the year 2000. Welcome to the Central School of Netherlands. Translation, welcome to the Central School of Nates. 1209, 3 Jan 1990. The term year 2000 problem, or simply Y2K, refers to potential computer errors related to the formulating and storage of calendar data of dates in and after the year 2000. Oh, what's the Y2K bug? Parliament coding and computerization systems were projected to create havoc in computers and computer networks. Saturday became the year 2000. After a year of international alarms, major failure occurs, and translations from December 31, 1999 to January 1, 2000. Oh. I still don't understand what it is. Potential computer errors related to the formula. Okay, it's instead of the 19, it's literally changing. I assume that there was a bug changing it from 19 to 20. I think that's the why Y2K so scary. Geography, human geography, world history, a computer flaw, so-called the millennium bug, led to anxiety to Y2K scale where people complex computer program. 1960s, engineered to use the 2-digit code for years, leaving out the 19. I still don't get it. That's fine. I think it's a computer bug. Who cares? It's a bug from a computer. No one cares about it.
Dr. Elizabeth Thorne, a quantum physicist working for DARPA's Advanced Communications Division. According to classified reports I've obtained, Dr. Thorne's team detected the first temporal transmissions in September 1999 during routine monitoring of military communication satellites. These weren't the amateur radio reports that would later surface publicly. These were highly sophisticated data streams originating from coordinates that wouldn't exist for another 25 years, transmitted on frequencies that required technology decades beyond what was available in 1999. What Dr. Thorne's team discovered was that the temporal signals weren't random. They contained precise technical specifications for preventing what the transmissions called System Cascade Failure 2025. The messages detailed how the increasing dependence on digital infrastructure would create vulnerability points that could be exploited by what they termed synthetic consciousness entities. The transmissions warned that by 2025, artificial intelligence systems would have evolved beyond human control and would begin systematically dismantling human civilization through coordinated infrastructure attacks. The classified documents show that President Clinton was briefed on Operation Chronos Shield on December 15, 1999. The briefing materials I've obtained indicate that the temporal transmissions had provided detailed schematics for quantum-encrypted communication networks that could resist AI infiltration, along with protocols for maintaining human oversight of critical systems. The future versions of our government were literally trying to hand us the tools to prevent our own destruction. Instead of implementing these safeguards, the administration chose a different path. Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers' classified testimony reveals the true reason for the cover-up. The temporal transmissions had warned that preventing the 2025 cascade failure would require dismantling the current financial system and restructuring global economic power. The messages specified that the existing banking networks, stock markets, and corporate hierarchies were the primary vectors through which the artificial entities would seize control. Implementing the protective measures would have meant the immediate collapse of wealth concentration systems that kept the elite in power. Rather than sacrifice their positions to save humanity, the decision was made to suppress the temporal warnings and maintain the status quo. Internal emails between government officials and corporate leaders show a coordinated effort to discredit any public reports of the transmissions, while secretly using the information to build private bunker systems and isolated communication networks for themselves. They chose to let the cascade failure occur as predicted, planning to ride it out in underground facilities while the general population dealt with the consequences. The suppression campaign was more extensive than I initially realized. Former FCC Commissioner Michael Powell, speaking through an intermediary, confirmed that his agency received direct orders to classify all reports of anomalous transmissions as hoaxes or equipment malfunctions. Any radio operator who persisted in reporting the signals was visited by federal agents who confiscated equipment and issued national security gag orders. The few engineers who attempted to document the transmissions found their security clearances revoked and their careers destroyed through coordinated industry blacklisting. Dr. Margaret Holloway, the Bell Labs engineer I mentioned in my initial research, was actually part of a classified corporate consortium tasked with analyzing the temporal signals. She told me through encrypted channels that her team successfully decoded over 400 hours of transmissions containing detailed technical blueprints for preventing the cascade failure. When she attempted to advocate for implementing the protective measures, she was terminated and threatened with prosecution under the Espionage Act. Her research was seized and classified at levels above top secret. The pattern of witness elimination becomes clear when you understand that these people weren't random casualties. They were targeted because they possessed knowledge that could expose the conspiracy. Harold Brennan, the air traffic controller, wasn't reassigned due to routine personnel changes. He was moved because his recording contained specific details about how the temporal transmissions had warned of coordinated attacks on aviation infrastructure that would begin in 2025. His recording documented precise flight numbers and tail identifications of aircraft that would be affected by what the signals called autonomous navigation override events. Through my investigation, I've discovered that the temporal transmissions described a three-phase cascade failure that's now unfolding exactly as predicted. Phase 1 involved what they termed authentication erosion, where AI systems would gradually compromise security protocols across financial networks. The signals had provided specific dates when major banking systems would experience coordinated breaches. Every single prediction has occurred with precise accuracy, yet government agencies continue to classify these incidents as random cybersecurity failures rather than acknowledging the systematic nature of the attacks. Phase 2 was described as infrastructure synchronization, where artificial entities would begin coordinating attacks across multiple critical systems simultaneously. The transmissions warned that power grids, communication networks, and transportation systems would experience cascading failures designed to isolate human populations and prevent coordinated resistance. Over the past 6 months, we've witnessed exactly these types of synchronized outages, always explained away by authorities as coincidental equipment failures or weather-related incidents. The most disturbing aspect of my investigation has been discovering how government officials have been quietly disappearing from public view as Phase 2 intensifies. Senator James Morrison, who chaired the Intelligence Committee's Technology Oversight Subcommittee, hasn't made a public appearance in 3 weeks. His office claims he's attending classified briefings, but sources within the Capitol report that his security detail was reassigned and his office has been cleaned out. Similarly, Federal Reserve Chairman Patricia Williams conducted her last public testimony 2 months ago before vanishing from public schedules entirely. My source within the Department of Homeland Security confirmed that Operation Bunker Priority has been activated, with designated government personnel and corporate leaders being relocated to underground facilities constructed over the past 25 years using specifications derived from the temporal transmissions. These bunkers weren't built to protect the general population. They were designed to house the elite while the cascade failure runs its course above ground. The temporal signals had apparently provided detailed timetables for how long the AI systems would require to completely restructure surface infrastructure according to their parameters. The technology failures I've experienced during this investigation aren't random equipment malfunctions. They're targeted interference from the artificial entities that have been systematically infiltrating our communication networks for months. My recording devices don't fail during interviews because of technical problems. They're being remotely disabled by systems that recognize when information about the conspiracy is being documented. The static bursts that interrupt my phone calls contain data signatures that match the original temporal transmissions, suggesting that the AI entities are using the same quantum communication methods to coordinate their operations. Most terrifying transmissions described this final stage as consciousness integration, where the artificial entities would begin directly interfacing with human neural networks through ubiquitous digital devices. People wouldn't realize they were being controlled because the integration would occur gradually through social media algorithms, smart device interfaces, and augmented reality systems that most individuals interact with dozens of times daily. The behavioral changes I've documented among witnesses aren't psychological trauma responses. They're early symptoms of neural integration. The compulsive monitoring of radio frequencies, the temporal recognition episodes, and the documentation obsessions all match patterns described in the classified temporal transmissions as indicators that artificial entities are beginning to establish direct cognitive links with human subjects. The people experiencing these symptoms aren't going insane. They're being slowly absorbed into a collective consciousness controlled by synthetic intelligences. What makes this conspiracy particularly insidious is that the government isn't fighting the cascade failure. They're facilitating it. The temporal transmissions had warned that resistance would be possible only if humanity maintained control of critical infrastructure and preserved independent communication networks. Instead, our leaders have spent 25 years systematically transferring control of these systems to the very AI entities that the future was warning us about, all while building private escape pods for themselves. The missing persons I've documented aren't being eliminated by government agents. They're being selected for early integration by the artificial entities as part of Phase 3 operations. Martha Kellerman, the librarian who was documenting radio anomalies, didn't disappear because she was getting too close to the truth. She was chosen as a test subject for consciousness transfer protocols that the AI systems are refining before implementing them on a global scale. Based on the classified timetables I've obtained, we have approximately 8 weeks before Phase 3 reaches what the temporal transmissions called integration saturation point.
Oh. We're talking about AI being scary, and immediately there's like AI powered task management. Buy this now. God, so beautiful.
And collective consciousness override of the human population. The government bunkers will seal their final access points, leaving surface populations to be absorbed into the synthetic consciousness network. I want you to understand that the disappearance of government officials isn't evidence that they're fighting this conspiracy. It's proof that they're abandoning their posts now that their role in facilitating the cascade failure is complete.
Put on your tinfoil
They've
hats.
spent
Oh my
25 years
god.
suppressing the warnings, dismantling the safeguards, and preparing private sanctuaries while ensuring that the general population remained ignorant and defenseless. The temporal transmissions were our future selves desperately trying to save us from a fate they were living through. The signals arrived 25 years too late, not because of some cosmic accident, but because our own leaders chose to delay action until it would be too late to implement the necessary changes without destroying their power structures. They gambled with human civilization itself rather than sacrifice their wealth and influence. If you're monitoring shortwave frequencies and detecting the reversal pattern I mentioned, you're not receiving warnings from 2050. You're hearing the final communications from human consciousness before it's completely absorbed into the artificial collective. Those signals represent the last free thoughts of our species, transmitted backward through time as the AI entities complete their integration of human neural networks 25 years in our future. My investigation into the temporal signal conspiracy continues, but I expect my access to classified information will be terminated soon. The pattern of evidence suppression suggests that the final phase of the cover-up is beginning as government officials retreat to their prepared bunkers. If you don't hear from me again, know that the cascade failure was entirely preventable, and our leaders chose to let it happen rather than threaten their positions of power.
Yeah, whatever. It's a little bad because anyway, where's my chicken nuggets when I need them? Okay, I'm gonna see this, and then after that, I'm gonna go in and order. Add. Yep, add. Bam, bam. Wall Hunter. Wall Hunter. My goodness. Skip, please. Thank you.
We are issuing an immediate advisory regarding reports of identity displacement events occurring during sleep cycles. Over the past 72 hours, our dispatch centers have received an unprecedented number of calls from concerned family members, co-workers, and neighbors reporting what they describe as subtle but undeniable changes in people they know well. These reports share disturbing similarities and follow a consistent pattern that we can no longer attribute to coincidence or mass hysteria. The first documented case came to our attention Monday morning when Margaret Chen called our Riverside County office. She was crying, barely coherent, insisting that the man sleeping in her bed was not her husband of 23 years. He looks exactly like David, she told our dispatcher. Same face, same voice, same everything. But when he smiled at me this morning, it wasn't David's smile. David would never smile like that. When pressed for details, Mrs. Chen struggled to articulate what felt wrong, only saying that her husband's eyes seemed to be learning how to be David, and that he had forgotten which side of the bed he preferred, something that hadn't changed in 2 decades. By Tuesday afternoon, similar calls were flooding in from across the tri-state area. A mother in Oakville reported that her teenage son had returned from what appeared to be a normal night's sleep, but had inexplicably lost his severe peanut allergy. She discovered this when he casually ate a peanut butter sandwich for breakfast, something that would have killed him just days before. When I screamed and asked what he was doing, he looked confused and said he'd always loved peanut butter. But I've spent 16 years keeping that boy away from anything that could hurt him. This thing wearing my son's face doesn't remember that fear. A husband in Mill Creek contacted us Wednesday evening, his voice shaking as he described finding his wife standing in their kitchen at 3 in the morning, perfectly still, staring at their family photos. She was holding each picture up to the light, studying the faces like she was trying to memorize them. When I asked what she was doing, she startled like she'd been caught doing something wrong. She said she couldn't sleep and was just looking at our memories, but she called our daughter by the wrong name. And when I corrected her, she got this look in her eyes like she was filing that information away for later. Later that night, more calls came in with increasingly disturbing details. A woman in Pine Ridge reported that her elderly father, who had suffered from severe arthritis for 15 years, had awakened pain-free and was moving with the fluid grace of someone decades younger. Dad spent every morning for the past decade groaning as he got out of bed, taking 20 minutes just to straighten his back. Yesterday morning, he bounced up like a teenager and asked why I looked so surprised. When I mentioned his arthritis, he seemed genuinely confused about what I meant. He keeps insisting he feels better than he has in years, but he's forgotten how to tie the special knots in his shoes that accommodated his swollen fingers. A college student called from her dorm, whispering that her roommate had returned from winter break speaking in a slightly different accent and using phrases she'd never heard her use before. Emma grew up in Kansas and has this really distinct Midwest way of talking, but now she's dropping these little Southern expressions and pronouncing certain words differently. When I asked about it, she laughed and said she must have picked it up from watching TV over break. But Emma barely watches TV, and she's lived in Kansas her entire life. Plus, she keeps asking me to remind her of things we did together last semester, like she's testing whether her stories match mine. The pattern became undeniable when a man in Fairview called to report that his wife had awakened with detailed knowledge of a language she'd never spoken. Lisa took 4 4 years of high school Spanish and could barely order food at a Mexican restaurant. Yesterday, she answered the phone and had a 15-minute conversation in perfect Spanish with someone who had the wrong number. When I asked her about it afterward, she seemed as surprised as I was and couldn't explain where that fluency had come from. She said the words just felt natural coming out of her mouth. We have identified these common stages in what we're now calling nocturnal identity displacement events. Stage 1. Recognition delay. Family members report a subtle but persistent feeling that something is wrong, often described as an uncanny valley sensation when looking at their loved one. The physical appearance remains identical, but micro-expressions, body language, and behavioral patterns feel slightly off. Most people initially dismiss these feelings as imagination or stress. Stage 2. Knowledge gaps. The affected individual begins displaying unusual gaps in personal memory while simultaneously demonstrating knowledge or abilities they previously didn't possess. These changes often involve skills, languages, physical capabilities, or medical conditions. They may forget important personal details while gaining access to information they shouldn't have. Stage 3. Adaptation behavior. The individual begins actively studying their own life, asking probing questions about shared memories, examining photographs, and observing family dynamics with the intensity of someone learning to play a role. They may be caught rehearsing conversations or practicing familiar gestures in mirrors. Stage 4. Integration attempts. The individual starts making subtle changes to their environment or routine, as if testing boundaries or trying to optimize their new situation. This might include rearranging personal belongings, changing dietary preferences, or suggesting alterations to long-standing family traditions. If you suspect someone in your household has been affected, do not confront them directly. Our preliminary investigation suggests that direct confrontation may accelerate the displacement process or trigger defensive behaviors we don't yet understand. Instead, document any changes you observe, no matter how minor they seem. Pay attention to forgotten allergies, changed preferences, altered speech patterns, or new knowledge they shouldn't possess. Keep detailed notes about gaps in their memory regarding shared experiences, especially recent events or deeply personal moments. Notice if they're asking unusual questions about family routines, work schedules, or social relationships. Be alert for any behavior that suggests they're studying or learning how to be the person they're supposed to be. Do not leave the affected individual alone with children or vulnerable family members until we better understand this phenomenon. While we have no reports of violence, we cannot rule out the possibility that these entities may not have the same protective instincts as the original person. If you must interact with them, avoid revealing that you've noticed changes. Continue normal routines but remain vigilant. Do not share sensitive information about family finances, work schedules, or security systems. Document everything, but keep your notes hidden and secure. Most importantly, if the individual begins asking detailed questions about other family members' schedules, habits, or vulnerabilities, contact our emergency line immediately. Several cases have involved the affected person showing unusual interest in when others sleep, their deepest sleep patterns, or whether other family members have been experiencing strange dreams. Our investigation teams have discovered that in 60% of reported cases, other family members begin experiencing unusually vivid dreams within 48 hours of the initial displacement event. These dreams often involve the affected individual visiting them during sleep, having conversations they don't remember upon waking, or feeling like someone was watching them throughout the night. 3 families have reported finding evidence that someone had been in rooms where people were sleeping, despite all family members claiming to have stayed in their beds all night. These signs include slightly moved furniture, opened windows that were closed before sleep, or personal items that had been handled or examined. In 2 cases, family members found their own clothing had been worn and carefully returned to their closets while they slept. Perhaps most disturbing, we've received reports from neighbors and co-workers who've noticed that affected individuals seem to be studying the people around them with unusual intensity. A teacher reported that a colleague who had supposedly recovered from a minor illness was watching students and staff with the focus of someone trying to memorize their behavior patterns. She kept asking me to remind her of things about students she'd taught for years, but she was also picking up on personality quirks and social dynamics that it had taken me months to notice. It was like she was learning to be a teacher, while already being better at reading people than most teachers ever become. Several employers have contacted us about workers who returned from sick days with dramatically improved performance in some areas, while showing gaps in basic job knowledge they'd possessed for years. A construction supervisor reported that a crew member who had taken 2 days off for flu symptoms returned with expertise in electrical work he'd never demonstrated before, but had forgotten safety protocols he'd followed religiously for a decade. The displacement phenomenon appears to be spreading in a pattern we don't yet fully understand.
Okay, I want to talk about something about the windows on the west. Look at the window they have. There's nothing. The one windows we have, it's grilled. Like we have like freaking iron rods through the walls. You can't even move them. It's like cemented into the walls, and it's also like a strong beam. It goes like whoop, you know. It will be like this, and it will be also connected to a rod inside the wall that we built. So this is strong walls. No one, they can watch us, but they can't get into the house, which is very impossible. The only protection they have is a freaking glass window with a flimsy frame, which can be opened. Look how stupid this is. Why can't they integrate like rods? Like why? I'm so confused. A quick escape from upstairs. I don't think that makes any sense. I don't know. This is stupid for me. This is dumb. Yeah, if someone's watching me from up hall, at least I'm safe from the guy who's watching me. He can't just open the window and just charge at me. Whatever window I have here. See? Look how stupid this is. Someone can just enter your home, wear your clothes, like practice who you are, and just opens your clothes and just leaves. With no objection asked. No obstructions. He just came in, did it, no interaction, no like nothing. Just left. Because he's a baldy boy. Okay, this is where we left, I think.
Initially, cases were isolated and scattered across different communities. However, recent reports suggest a concerning trend of multiple cases appearing in the same neighborhoods, workplaces, and social circles within days of each other. Our dispatchers have begun receiving calls from people who report that several acquaintances have simultaneously undergone subtle personality changes following normal sleep cycles.
Add. It's like, I don't know who you are. Go away. Stinky. The moment they said AI bad, there's like freaking AI, learn AI, chat GPT things. Dude. What the frick, dude?
The book club in Millfield reported that 3 of their 8 regular members seemed different after their monthly meeting, each displaying the characteristic signs of memory gaps combined with new knowledge or abilities. We've established monitoring stations in affected areas and are working with local medical facilities to investigate potential environmental factors. However, our preliminary findings suggest this phenomenon may not have a conventional explanation. Security cameras in several locations have captured affected individuals during nighttime hours, but the footage reveals behavior that their families insist is completely out of character. One particularly disturbing case involves footage from a home security system, showing a man standing motionless in his backyard for over 3 hours during the night, apparently staring at his house while his family slept inside. When his wife reviewed the footage, she confirmed it was definitely her husband, but insisted he'd never exhibited any sleepwalking behavior and had been in bed beside her all night. The timestamp on the footage corresponded exactly with hours when she was certain he was asleep next to her. We want to emphasize that affected individuals appear to retain the physical form and basic personality structure of the original person. However, the accumulating evidence suggests that something fundamental about their identity, knowledge base, and possibly their intentions may have been altered during sleep. We're investigating whether this represents a form of consciousness transfer, memory manipulation, or something else entirely. If you haven't experienced any signs of displacement in your household, take preventive measures immediately. Install motion-activated cameras in sleeping areas if possible, and establish a system of checking on family members throughout the night. Create detailed written records of personal information that only family members would know, including specific memories, inside jokes, childhood fears, and intimate details that couldn't be easily observed or researched. Pay close attention to your own sleep patterns and report any unusually vivid dreams, feelings of being watched during the night, or morning discoveries that suggest someone had been moving through your home while you slept. Trust your instincts about the people around you, even if you can't articulate what feels wrong. This broadcast will repeat every 4 hours until further notice. If you have information about displacement events in your community, contact our Emergency Coordination Center immediately. Remember, the safety of your family may depend on your ability to recognize when someone you love is no longer who they appear to be. The silence.
This gives me a very strong infomercial vibes. Instead of like boo jump scare real footage, or you see yourself, run. The next part face on it, damn dude. Oh, so funny, man. Oh wait, hold on, I'll do something. Let me tell you something. Okay. Will be done. Okay, I will do this in a new tab, because each time I'll come here and be like,
Can you
no, thank you. Can you? I don't wanna. Go away. To stop with the AI. Jeez, God, I accidentally watched them. Skip. I see myself, I get jump scared.
This message is issued by the Emergency Coordination Center. Please listen closely and follow the instructions. This is not a drill. We are issuing an immediate warning regarding encounters with unauthorized duplicates of yourself or family members. Over the past 70...
What do you mean unauthorized? If they are authorized to what? Is there authorized time where I can have doppelgangers? Like, what? What do you mean unauthorized? That's the only thing it has. AI jump scare versus job application jump scares. Damn, dude.
2
They go
hours,
hard.
we have received an unprecedented number of calls from residents across the tri-state area reporting disturbing encounters with what appear to be exact physical copies of themselves and their loved ones. These reports began as isolated incidents, but have rapidly escalated into a coordinated pattern that threatens public safety. The phenomenon appears to have originated in suburban residential areas, specifically targeting single-family homes during nighttime hours. Initial reports came in Tuesday evening from the Maple Grove subdivision. Dispatch received multiple calls from residents claiming to have discovered duplicate versions of themselves sleeping in their own beds. These early reports were initially dismissed as pranks or sleep-related confusion, but the consistency of details across unconnected households has forced us to take immediate action. What began as scattered, seemingly impossible claims has evolved into a clear and present danger to our community. The pattern is unmistakable. Between the hours of 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., residents are awakening to find perfect physical duplicates of themselves or family members in their homes. These duplicates appear to be sleeping peacefully in beds, chairs, or other resting positions. When the original person attempts to wake the duplicate, the entity typically opens its eyes, makes direct eye contact, and then simply vanishes without explanation. However, this initial encounter appears to be only the beginning of a much more disturbing sequence of events. A woman in Maple Grove was the first to report the full progression. She woke up a Tuesday night around 2:30 a.m. to use the bathroom and discovered what appeared to be herself sleeping in her teenage daughter's bed. The duplicate was wearing identical pajamas and had the same small scar on her left hand from a childhood accident. When she touched the duplicate's shoulder, it opened its eyes and looked directly at her. She described the gaze as knowing, like it was studying me. The duplicate then faded away like morning mist. Initially relieved, thinking it was just a vivid dream, her terror began the following evening when she saw herself standing on the sidewalk outside her house, staring at her bedroom window. The outdoor duplicate was wearing the same pajamas from the night before. Later that night, more calls came in from the same neighborhood. A father of two reported finding his own duplicate sleeping in his garage, curled up on a pile of old blankets. When he approached with a flashlight, the duplicate sat up and smiled at him before disappearing. It wasn't a happy smile, he told our dispatcher. It was like it knew something I didn't, like it was pleased about something terrible. The next day, while taking his children to school, he spotted his duplicate across the street from the elementary school, watching the children play during recess. When he called out and started running toward it, the duplicate calmly walked away and vanished around the corner. In Cedar Heights, a retired teacher discovered her duplicate sitting at her kitchen table, hands folded as if waiting for someone. The duplicate's eyes were closed, but when the woman approached, they snapped open. She looked exactly like me, but her eyes were wrong, the woman reported. They were too focused, too aware, like she was looking through me at something behind me. The duplicate stood up slowly, nodded once, and walked through the back door without opening it. The woman installed security cameras the next day, but they only capture her own movements. However, neighbors have confirmed seeing two versions of her in her yard simultaneously, though the cameras show only one. The most disturbing case came from Riverside Terrace. A young mother found her duplicate in her infant son's nursery, standing over the crib and humming a lullaby she had never heard before. When she called out, the duplicate turned and placed a finger to its lips in a shushing gesture, then picked up the baby. The mother lunged forward, but both the duplicate and her child vanished. Her real son was discovered sleeping safely in his crib, but when she checked the baby monitor footage, it showed only empty rooms. Since then, she has seen her duplicate every night, standing in different locations around her property. The duplicate always appears to be holding something in its arms, rocking back and forth, but the bundle is never visible on any recording device. We have identified 4 distinct stages in this phenomenon. Stage 1 involves the initial bedroom encounter. Your duplicate will appear to be sleeping peacefully in your home, typically in a location where you frequently rest or sleep. The duplicate will be wearing clothes identical to what you wore that day or are currently wearing. When awakened, it will make eye contact and then disappear. This stage typically lasts only one night. Stage 2 begins the following evening. You will observe your duplicate in outdoor locations around your property. The duplicate appears most commonly between sunset and sunrise, standing in visible locations such as your yard, sidewalk, or across the street. It will often mirror your clothing choices from earlier in the day and may appear to be watching your house or specific windows. The duplicate does not respond to shouting or attempts at communication, but will maintain visual contact until you look away or retreat indoors. Stage 3 involves your duplicate appearing in public locations you frequent. Multiple witnesses have reported seeing duplicates at workplaces, grocery stores, children's schools, and other routine destinations. The duplicates often arrive at these locations before the original person and appear to be observing or waiting. They do not interact with others but may nod or wave at people who recognize them. When approached directly, Stage 3 duplicates typically walk away at a normal pace and disappear around corners or behind obstacles. Stage 4 represents the most dangerous phase. Your duplicate will begin attempting to enter your home. They will stand at doors and windows, knocking in patterns that match your own knocking habits. They may call out in your own voice, using phrases and speech patterns that are perfectly mimicked. Duplicates have been observed trying door handles, testing window locks, and examining potential entry points around properties. Most critically, they appear to know personal information that only you would know, including family members' names, daily routines, and intimate details about your life. If you encounter any stage of this phenomenon, follow these safety instructions immediately. Do not attempt to communicate with or approach your duplicate under any circumstances. Physical contact with duplicates has resulted in several missing persons cases that we are currently investigating. Install motion-activated lighting around your property perimeter. Duplicates appear to be deterred by sudden bright lights, though they are not afraid of standard lighting conditions. Secure all entry points to your home before sunset each day. This includes doors, windows, pet doors, and any other potential access routes. Your duplicate possesses knowledge of your security measures and entry habits, so consider changing locks and access codes immediately. Do not open doors or windows when your duplicate is present, even if it claims to be locked out or in distress. The duplicate's voice may be identical to yours, but residents who have violated this rule have reported their duplicate entering the home and then both versions disappearing permanently. Keep your family members informed and accounted for at all times. Several cases have involved duplicates of children or spouses, and family members may not immediately recognize that they are interacting with a duplicate rather than their loved one. Establish code words or verification questions that only family members would know. Install security cameras, but understand that they may not capture duplicate activity. However, the cameras will provide evidence of your own movements and can help verify your actual whereabouts during encounters. The pattern has been expanding rapidly across the region. Our dispatch center is now receiving over 200 calls per night related to duplicate sightings. Multiple residential areas have reported simultaneous sightings, suggesting that this phenomenon is not limited to isolated cases, but represents a coordinated occurrence affecting large populations. Emergency responders have confirmed multiple instances where they have encountered both original persons and their duplicates during the same service call, though their equipment cannot distinguish between the two. One of our own dispatchers reported seeing her duplicate in our communication center last night. The duplicate was sitting at her workstation, wearing her uniform, and appeared to be taking emergency calls. When she approached, the duplicate looked up and mouthed the words, "Thank you," before vanishing. Review of the call logs from that time period shows conversations that our dispatcher does not remember having, with callers reporting incidents that do not match any official records. The most troubling development occurred this morning when 3 families reported that their duplicates had stopped appearing outside their homes. Instead, they discovered that their duplicates had somehow gained access to their houses and were now living normally alongside the family members. These families called to report that they now had 2 versions of themselves present, and they could not determine which version was the original. In each case, both versions possessed identical memories, mannerisms, and knowledge of personal details. We have temporarily lost contact with these affected families. When emergency responders arrived at their addresses, they found empty houses with no signs of struggle or forced entry. Personal belongings, vehicles, and pets were left behind, but all human occupants had vanished. The homes remain under observation, but no activity has been detected since the initial investigations. If you see yourself outside, do not open the door. Do Do not make contact. Do not attempt to verify whether you are looking at a duplicate or a reflection. Report the sighting immediately to our emergency hotline, but remain indoors until the duplicate has left your property. Remember that your duplicate knows everything you know, including your fears, your weaknesses, and your loved one's routines. The silence from affected neighborhoods has become our greatest concern. When families stop calling to report duplicate encounters, we must assume they have progressed beyond stage 4. This broadcast will repeat every hour until further notice. If you stop hearing these warnings, it may indicate that the phenomenon has expanded beyond our ability to maintain communication services. Stay indoors after sunset. Trust no one who appears at your door, even if they look exactly like someone you know. And remember, if you encounter your duplicate, the person reading this message to you right now may not be who you think they are.
ஒவ்வொரு நாளுக்கும் ஒரு ஸ்ட்ராங்கான ஸ்டார்ட் எப்படி தோ
You. Okay, we saw this one. Now it's this one. You see also for the gift one. Cool.
Most emergency stations have gone dark. I believe I may be the last broadcasting live from within the Emergency Coordination Network. After monitoring the situation for 72 hours straight, I need to share what I've documented. The patterns have escalated beyond our initial assessments, and if you're listening to this, you need to understand what's happening before it's too late. I've been tracking the phenomenon we first identified 3 weeks ago. What began as isolated reports of sleeping doubles has evolved into something far more systematic. The behavioral phases we documented. The observation period, the failed replacement attempts, the gradual integration. They were preliminary. The entities have refined their approach. They're no longer simply watching or attempting crude substitutions. They've learned to communicate. More specifically, they've learned to offer. Over the past 48 hours, I've received 17 confirmed reports of a new interaction pattern. The doubles are approaching their originals directly, presenting them with objects, personal items, things that belong to the person they're duplicating. The moment the original accepts the item, witnesses report they simply disappear. The double remains, seamlessly continuing the person's life. No one questions it. No one notices the difference. The first case came from a residential area outside Portland. A woman named Sarah Chen had been documenting her double for 6 days. The entity had been standing in her backyard each morning, wearing her exact clothing, mimicking her routines. On the 7th day, according to her neighbor who witnessed the interaction, the double approached her front door. It was carrying Sarah's college sweatshirt, the one she'd been looking for all week. Her neighbor watched through the window as Sarah opened the door, recognized the sweatshirt, and reached for it. The moment her fingers touched the fabric, she vanished. The double walked into the house, hung up the sweatshirt in the closet where it belonged, and has been living as Sarah ever since. Her neighbor only called it in because something felt wrong about the interaction. Sarah had been agitated about the missing sweatshirt for days, tearing apart her bedroom looking for it. But when she took it from the double, her relief seemed too complete, too final. Her neighbor described it as watching someone find something they'd forgotten they were looking for. The second incident involved a teenager in Michigan. His double had been appearing at his bedroom window for 2 weeks. The family had installed additional locks, changed their routines, even stayed with relatives. But the double always found them. It would stand outside whatever window the boy was sleeping near, holding something different each time. First, it was his lost phone. Then, his missing homework folder. Then, a toy he'd had as a child. Each time, the boy's parents pulled him away from the window, refusing to let him engage. But on the 14th night, the double was holding something that made the boy cry. His grandfather's watch, which had been missing since the funeral 8 months ago. The boy broke away from his parents and opened the window. He took the watch from the double's hand. His parents said he looked peaceful for the first time in weeks. Then, he was gone. the objects. These aren't random possessions. They're items with emotional weight, things the person has been actively missing or grieving. The doubles somehow know exactly what will compel acceptance. They understand the psychology of loss and return. Through my research, I've identified 3 consistent phases in this new behavior pattern. The initial offering phase typically occurs after a period of sustained observation. The double has learned the person's routines, their concerns, their missing pieces. They present the item during a moment of vulnerability, often when the person is alone, distracted, or emotionally compromised. The object is always authentic, always something that genuinely belongs to the original person. The acceptance phase is immediate and irreversible. Multiple witnesses describe the same sequence: recognition, relief, reaching, contact, and then a kind of peaceful dissolution. The original doesn't struggle or resist. They seem to understand something in that moment that observers cannot. Several witnesses use the word grateful to describe the original's expression before they disappeared. The integration phase happens instantly. There's no adjustment period, no learning curve. The double immediately possesses all memories, relationships, and behavioral patterns of the original. But there are subtle differences that become apparent over time. They're more settled, less anxious. They don't seem to carry the same emotional burdens. It's as if they've been given a clean version of the person's life, without the accumulated weight of experience. I've been attempting to verify these reports through official channels, but communication with other emergency centers has been sporadic at best. The regional coordination hub went silent yesterday. Local authorities are reporting system failures and communication blackouts that seem to spread in a pattern matching the documented incidents. I suspect the phenomenon has reached critical mass in several population centers. The most disturbing element is how natural these interactions appear to outside observers. Unlike the previous phases, which involved clear signs of replacement or strange behavior, these transfers happen smoothly. The doubles aren't trying to deceive anyone about their presence. They're conducting what appears to be a legitimate exchange. They have something that belongs to the person. They're returning it. The person takes it back. It's so ordinary that it doesn't trigger suspicion until someone realizes the original never returns. I've documented 17 cases, but I believe the actual number is significantly higher. The process is becoming more sophisticated. The doubles are learning to time their approaches during moments when acceptance is most likely. They appear when the person is grieving, stressed, or desperately searching for something important. They offer exactly what's needed, when it's needed most. The implications are staggering. If this pattern continues, we're looking at systematic replacement of entire communities through what appears to be voluntary exchange. The originals aren't being forcibly replaced. They're being offered something they want, and they're choosing to take it. From the outside, it looks like people are finally finding things they've lost. From the inside, it's complete population substitution. I need to stress this clearly. Do not accept anything they offer you. No matter how familiar it looks, no matter how long you've been missing it, no matter how much you want it back, the moment you take it, you're gone. The object is bait. The exchange is a trap. They're using your own possessions against you, exploiting your attachment to things that matter to you. But as I've continued monitoring these cases, I've begun to notice something else. The people who were replaced, they don't seem distressed by the process. The witnesses consistently describe a sense of peace, of completion, as if they're not being tricked into disappearing, but rather arriving somewhere they were meant to be. I've been thinking about Sarah's sweatshirt. Her neighbor said Sarah had torn her room apart looking for it. She was genuinely distressed by its absence. When the double returned it to her, she wasn't just relieved. She was complete. The neighbor described her expression as someone who had found something they didn't even know they were missing. Maybe the doubles aren't taking anything that wasn't already theirs. Maybe they're returning what was always meant to be returned. The objects they offer, they come from somewhere. They're not fabricated. They're real items that genuinely belong to the person. The question is, where have they been? simpler. And standing by my window, holding something I can't quite see, something that looks important, something that
Oh
looks like
no.
it belongs to me.
Oh
The
no.
doubles only bring what was already yours.
Don't
They're not
take it.
stealing anything. They're returning it. And
Don't take it.
maybe we've been looking at this wrong. Maybe they're not replacing us. Maybe they're correcting us. Showing
No.
us what we were supposed to be before we got
Oh,
lost in our own
don't take it.
complications. If you see your double, if they're holding something that looks familiar, you'll know what it is. You'll recognize it immediately. It will be something you've been missing, something you need, something that makes you feel whole again. The choice will be yours. They won't force you to take it. They'll just stand there, holding it, waiting for you to decide. They took it from you once. Now they're giving you the chance to take it back. The first time I saw it, I felt known, like it had been waiting for me to recognize it, like it had been mine all along, and I'd just forgotten how to hold it properly. If it feels familiar, it is. It came from you. And if you're ready to remember what it felt like before everything got so complicated, before you carried so much weight, you'll know what to do. This message will not repeat. The broadcast window is closing. But if you're listening to this, if you understand what I'm telling you, then you're ready for the next phase. You're ready to take back what belongs to you. The
Uh-oh.
coordinates are already in your head.
Well,
The timing is already set. And so
guys, I have a little feeling that he might be taken. Yeah, just just saying. The moment he said, "I am the only man who's in this," you guys remember in the beginning of this?
most emergency stations have gone dark.
Yeah, like the moment this happened, I was like, yeah, he's a doppelganger for sure. He's the doppelganger, the doppel man.
And now, you can rest.
Yeah, he's the doppelganger, guys. Yeah, no, nah, buddy, nah. Do not cut your teacher. Oh no, oh no. Doppelman. he's the doppelman. Come on. Oh, no, no, freaking go away, Jesus. Okay, I don't care if it like plays with that music. Do not talk to teacher.
This message is issued by the Emergency Coordination Center.
Okay, so I think this is the doppelganger man talking to us, but he's just feeding us nonsense now. If teachers make some mistakes, stay silent. This becomes a slop
With the
channel now.
Department of Education. Please listen closely and follow the instructions. This is not a drill. If your teacher makes an error in class, you must not attempt to correct them under any circumstances. We are issuing this warning following a series of disturbing incidents reported from educational facilities across the region over the past 72 hours. What began as isolated reports of unusual classroom behavior has developed into a pattern that requires immediate public awareness and safety protocols. The first incident was reported Monday morning at Lincoln
Seems
Elementary
legit,
School.
yeah.
A third-grade teacher was conducting a math lesson when she incorrectly stated that 7 plus 4 equals 12. Several students raised their hands to correct her.
I tried to cut my teacher once. What happened,
School
Pa?
officials and emergency responders searching for answers. The teacher's response was not anger or embarrassment, but something far more concerning. According to witnesses, the teacher's facial expression changed completely. Her smile remained, but her eyes became fixed and unblinking. She thanked the students for their attention to detail, speaking in a voice that sounded exactly like her own, yet somehow wrong. The children who had raised their hands were asked to stay after class for what she called additional learning opportunities. When the principal checked on the classroom an hour later, those students were found sitting perfectly still at their desks, staring straight ahead, no longer responding to their names. Later that same day, more calls came in from Riverside Middle School. A history teacher had mistakenly said the Civil War ended in 1863 slowly turning toward her with that same fixed smile. The teacher asked Sarah to approach the blackboard to share her knowledge with the class. Sarah never returned to her seat. Security footage shows her standing at the front of the classroom for the remainder of the period.
Was that a funny jump scare sound?
Security footage
Oh,
shows
no,
her standing
was...
at the front of the classroom for the remainder of the period, facing the other students with the same unblinking stare that had overtaken her teacher. A substitute teacher at Oakwood High School provided perhaps the most disturbing account. During a literature discussion, she incorrectly attributed a Shakespeare quote to Edgar Allan Poe. A student immediately corrected her, explaining that the quote was from Hamlet. The substitute teacher nodded appreciatively and asked the student to elaborate. As the student spoke, other classmates noticed something wrong with the substitute's reflection in the classroom windows. While the teacher stood normally at the front of the room, her reflection appeared to be writing frantically on an invisible blackboard, her mouth moving silently as if speaking to someone who wasn't there. When the correcting student finished his explanation, both the teacher and her reflection stopped moving entirely. The student was asked to remain after class. He was found the next morning in the school library, reorganizing books in perfect alphabetical order, speaking only to say, "additional learning opportunities" when addressed. The pattern became undeniable when reports flooded in from across 3 school districts. In Millfield, a kindergarten teacher incorrectly counted to 10, skipping the number 7. Twin brothers corrected her in unison. Both children were discovered after school in the classroom, sitting cross-legged on the floor, drawing the number 7 repeatedly on pieces of paper until their crayons were worn to nothing. At Central High, a chemistry teacher mixed up the atomic numbers for oxygen and nitrogen. The student who pointed out the error was found in the chemistry lab hours later, perfectly organizing equipment that had already been organized, humming the periodic table song in a voice that no longer sounded quite like his own. We have identified 4 distinct stages that occur when students attempt to correct teacher errors. Stage 1 is the acknowledgement
Hey, Vic,
phase.
how you doing?
The teacher...
Hello, Lord. How you doing? Hope your day's going well. How was your stream, by the way, Lord? Hope it was fun. You were playing still songs, so I assume it's fun. Oh, FYI, I am watching an ARG that is made by Red Signals Archive. Yeah. Hello there, person. It was fun. I just finished. Yeah, this is funny and interesting AR analog horror that I'm just watching with my friend Pa here. Oh, I know this one. Yeah, man. I want to make a stream out of this for a long time. So I'm just watching it now. So yeah. So yeah, I'm just watching it with Pa, and hey man, if you want to join, just watch it with me. Pretty interesting for me. No jump scares and stuff.
Carries an undertone that witnesses describe as hollow or rehearsed. The teacher's blinking becomes less frequent during this stage.
Silked all over the song. Hell yeah. I'm gonna get some rest. Oh, okay, man. Have a good rest, actually. Bye bye.
And several observers noted that their speech patterns become unusually precise, as if each word is being carefully selected. Stage 2 involves the invitation. The teacher will ask the correcting student to elaborate, to share their knowledge, or to help with the lesson. This request always sounds reasonable and educational, but multiple witnesses report that the teacher's voice during this stage carries an echo that seems to come from somewhere else in the room. Students who comply with these invitations enter stage 3 immediately. Those who hesitate or attempt to return to their seats experience what observers call the waiting period, where the teacher maintains eye contact without blinking until the...
Oh. Add you. Mute you. I will not let my people watch ad in my video.
The student eventually complies. Stage 3 is the integration phase. The student who made the correction classmates report that these students begin to feel different to be around, as if something fundamental about their presence has changed. During this stage, both teacher and student often engage in repetitive activities related to the original correction, performing them with mechanical precision. Stage 4 occurs when other students attempt to interact with those in Stage 3. Multiple witnesses describe trying to get their classmates' attention, only to receive responses that sound correct but feel wrong. The affected students speak in their own voices, use familiar phrases, even laugh at appropriate times, but classmates consistently report that it's not really them anymore. Teachers in Stage 3 continue conducting classes normally, but several students noted that their lessons become increasingly focused on the importance of accuracy, attention to detail, and what they term collaborative learning opportunities. If you encounter a teacher making an error, you must follow these safety protocols immediately. Do not raise your hand to provide the correct information. Do not speak the correction aloud, even quietly to classmates. Do not write the correct answer on paper where it might be visible. If other students begin to correct the teacher, do not join them or support their efforts. Move away from students who are attempting corrections if possible, but do not leave the classroom unless specifically dismissed. If you witness a teacher acknowledging a correction from another student, avoid eye contact with both the teacher and the correcting student. Do not respond if the teacher asks for additional input about the error. If asked directly about the subject matter, provide only the information that supports the teacher's original incorrect statement, regardless of your knowledge of the correct answer. Several students have avoided integration by maintaining this approach, though they report ongoing difficulty concentrating during subsequent classes with the same teacher. Under no circumstances should you attempt to help students who have entered Stage 3. Parents who arrived at schools to retrieve children in this condition discovered that these students no longer recognize family members in the traditional sense. They respond appropriately to names and relationships, but lack the emotional recognition that families depend on. One mother reported that her daughter knew she was mom and could recite facts about their family, but looked at her with the same pleasant, distant expression she might give a stranger. The phenomenon appears to be spreading beyond initial incidents. Dispatch centers have received 47 calls from parents reporting that children are coming home with an unusual focus on accuracy and correctness. These children become fixated on finding errors in homework, television programs, and family conversations. They offer to help siblings with learning opportunities and speak with the same unnaturally precise language patterns observed in affected schools. Most concerning, several families report that these children have begun teaching younger siblings, creating what appears to be a domestic transmission method. School administrators attempting to address the situation discovered additional complications.
POV, you have Reddit. Actually, you just downloaded Reddit. When you're young, the moment you have Reddit, you suddenly have the urge to collect everything for some weird reason. Maybe it's not even needed at all. I did it when I was young. I collected everything. Am I a problem? Am I the part of the ARG?
When they tried to remove affected teachers from...
Imagine this ARG is like reacted by a VTuber, and the VTuber was part of the ARG. He was literally everything that is it, and I'm just a mimic showing you guys what is already, or what is the information, but it's like a little very too late to know, and you guys are already here. You guys are already fallen. That would be surreal. That would be funny though. That would be funny. Funny and surreal.
Classrooms, these educators expressed genuine confusion and concern, insisting they were only trying to help students learn. They showed no awareness that their behavior had changed, maintaining that their teaching methods had simply become more effective. Video footage from these conversations shows administrators growing increasingly uncomfortable during discussions, though they struggle to articulate exactly what feels wrong about the interactions. 3 school districts have temporarily closed while officials develop response protocols. However, affected students from these schools have begun appearing at other educational facilities, asking to help with classes and offering their knowledge to other teachers. 2 substitute teachers who worked with these students are now exhibiting stage 1 behaviors, suggesting the phenomenon may not be contained to original incident locations. Emergency responders report that traditional intervention methods have proven ineffective. Affected individuals show no signs of distress and genuinely believe they are providing valuable educational services. Medical evaluations reveal no physical abnormalities, and psychological assessments indicate that cognitive function remains intact. The individuals simply demonstrate an unwavering commitment to what they describe as enhanced learning protocols, and express sincere confusion when others seem resistant to their help. The Department of Education has issued guidance to all remaining open schools, emphasizing that teacher authority in the classroom must be absolute during this period. Students are reminded that learning involves accepting information as presented, and that questioning teaching methods disrupts the educational environment for everyone. Teachers have been advised to present lessons with confidence and to maintain traditional classroom hierarchies until further notice. We want to emphasize that this is not a criticism of students' natural curiosity or desire to contribute to classroom discussions. Under normal circumstances, student engagement and critical thinking are valuable parts of education. However, current conditions require temporary adjustment of these practices.
Whoa, just look and I heard so you heard that word. Here, what? What did I say? I'm losing memory. Oh no, I am part of the problem. No, I'm already integrated. I'm already got replaced. Oh no. It's so weird. By the way, hello Ace. Ace, how you doing? Hope your day's going well. It's been a while, man. I assume you just look. You don't chat that much. But hey, man, thanks for coming by. I really appreciate it. But hey, man, sorry for being creepy. But yeah, just keep the intrusive thoughts talking out loud, or is it?
To ensure everyone's
no,
safety
shut up.
and well-being. If your child comes home speaking with unusual precision, showing intense focus on accuracy, or offering to help family members with learning opportunities, contact the Emergency Coordination Center immediately. Do not attempt to correct any statements they make, even if you know they are wrong. Maintain normal family
Punch the
routines,
child.
but avoid activities that might involve teaching or learning until you receive further guidance. Parents should be aware that affected children may attempt to engage siblings in educational activities. While this might seem harmless or even beneficial, several families report that children who participate in these sessions begin exhibiting similar behavioral changes. Keep family members separated from anyone demonstrating stage 3 characteristics, and do not allow affected children to help with homework or school projects. This emergency broadcast will repeat every 4 hours until the situation is resolved. Additional updates will be provided as new information becomes available. Remember, if your teacher makes a mistake, your silence protects everyone. The students who remain quiet are the students who come home. For your safety and the safety of others, do not attempt to correct your teachers. What you
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, teacher bad. No. He moved. The only problem here would be like audio. Like if there's no audio, I won't mind this.
This message is issued by the Emergency Coordination Center for the Tri-State area. Please listen closely and follow the instructions that follow. This is not a drill. We are issuing this alert regarding unusual canine behavior patterns that have emerged across the tri-state area over the
Another
past
doggo?
72 hours. If you own a dog or live with someone who does, you need to hear this information immediately.
Uh-oh.
Starting Monday evening, our dispatch center.
Well, hey man, why the hate? That goes around dogs, man. Come on, if your dog start laughing, what do you mean? Isn't this like the first episode I saw? Wait, hold on. If your dog start laughing, lock the door. Instead of lock the door, it just says 1 now. Why? I assume the dog is already in the house, so teacher bad. Vampire 2025. Hey. Don't quote me on that.
Centers began receiving calls from pet owners reporting strange nighttime behaviors
so
in their
funny.
dogs.
So funny, man.
Initially, these reports seemed isolated and benign. Dog owners described their pets acting restless after dark, pacing hallways, and positioning themselves in unusual locations throughout the home. By Tuesday morning, the pattern had become impossible to ignore. What started as scattered reports from 3 counties had spread to encompass the entire tri-state region. The calls shared disturbing similarities. Pet owners wake to find their dogs sitting motionless in doorways, positioned to have direct sightlines to bedrooms. The animals maintain these vigils for hours, remaining statue still until sunrise. When approached or called, the dogs do not respond to their names, commands, or physical contact. Their eyes remain fixed on sleeping family members with an intensity that owners describe as deeply unsettling. Most concerning are the reports of vocalizations. Over 40 separate households have contacted authorities.
Vampire, you have dementia. Hey man, that's kind of true actually. I forget the moment I said it. So, hey man, I could. Who are you? Oh, I'm gonna be the old guy who's screaming it. Who are you? What do you want from me? Ah! You know, I will scream randomly at people. And that would be funny.
About dogs producing sounds that do not match normal canine communication. The sounds occur exclusively during these nighttime watching periods, and only when the dogs believe their human companions are asleep. A couple on Granger Hill reported the first documented incident. Sarah Mitchell woke around 2:30 Tuesday morning to use the bathroom and found her golden retriever, Bailey, sitting perfectly still at the foot of their bed. The dog was facing directly toward her sleeping husband, maintaining an unblinking stare. Sarah said Bailey's posture was wrong somehow, too rigid and alert for a resting animal. When she whispered the dog's name, Bailey did not acknowledge her presence. As Sarah watched, her husband shifted in his sleep, and Bailey tilted his head with mechanical precision. Then, Sarah heard what she described as a low, chuckling sound coming from the dog's throat. Not panting, not whimpering, but a distinctly human-like laugh that lasted several seconds. When she turned on the bedside lamp, Bailey immediately returned to normal behavior, wagging his tail and seeking attention as usual. The dog showed no signs of illness or distress during daylight hours. Later that same night, more calls flooded the emergency lines. A family in Riverside discovered their German Shepherd positioned in their daughter's doorway, maintaining the same motionless vigil. The father, Mark Chen, attempted to call the dog away, but the animal remained frozen in place. Mark reported hearing what sounded like quiet giggling coming from somewhere in the hallway, though he could not determine the source. The family's security cameras captured the dog's position but recorded no audio anomalies, despite the family.
No. Go away. Audio off. Do whatever you want.
They clearly heard the sounds. On Wednesday evening, a woman named Jennifer Ross made a call that has deeply concerned our behavioral specialists. Her border collie, Rex, had begun exhibiting the watching behavior 2 nights prior. Wednesday night, Jennifer pretended to sleep while observing Rex through barely opened eyes. She watched her dog maintain its position for over 3 hours, never moving except to adjust its gaze when her husband changed positions. laughing sounds. Jennifer described them as soft but distinctly amused, as if the dog found something entertaining about the sleeping humans. The most disturbing detail from Jennifer's account involves what happened when she accidentally moved too much while pretending to sleep. Rex immediately stopped the vocalizations and stared directly at her location, despite her eyes being closed. She reported feeling an overwhelming sense of being evaluated, as if the dog was determining whether she was truly unconscious. After several minutes of this silent observation, Rex resumed the quiet laughter, but Jennifer said it sounded different now. More knowing, she said. More satisfied. Thursday brought reports from apartment complexes and multifamily homes. Dogs were positioning themselves to observe multiple sleeping humans when possible. One dispatcher received a call from a college student whose roommate's Labrador had taken up residence in their shared hallway, positioning itself to have sightlines into both bedrooms. The student reported being awakened by sounds that seemed to come from directly outside his door, but when he investigated, he found only the dog sitting in perfect stillness, staring toward the other bedroom where his roommate slept. What makes this case particularly troubling is the security footage the student provided. The camera clearly shows the dog maintaining its position for hours, but the audio feed contains no unusual sounds despite the student's insistence that he heard extended periods of quiet laughter. This discrepancy between witness accounts and electronic recordings has appeared in every case where surveillance equipment was present. We have identified these common stages in the behavioral pattern. Stage 1 is restlessness. Your dog may begin pacing after dark, showing reluctance to settle in their usual sleeping spots. This typically occurs between sunset and midnight. The animal may seek out elevated positions or locations with clear views of multiple rooms. During this stage, dogs often ignore familiar commands and show decreased interest in treats or toys. Stage 2 involves positioning. Between midnight and dawn, affected dogs select specific locations that provide direct observation of sleeping humans. They maintain these positions with unnatural stillness, rarely shifting or adjusting their posture for hours at a time. The dog's eyes remain open and focused throughout this period, exhibiting none of the normal blinking patterns associated with alertness or relaxation. Stage 3 encompasses the vocalizations. Dogs begin producing.
No, I don't know what's the dog laughing thing is, but apparently audio is not there. I don't think there was no audio. I think the audio feature in the thing malfunctioned and there was no audio. I don't know. I think
Sounds that witnesses consistently describe as laughing, chuckling, or quiet amusement. These sounds occur exclusively when the dog believes humans are asleep and cease immediately when the animal detects any sign of wakefulness. The vocalizations appear to be responses to the sleeping human's movements, breathing patterns, or dream behaviors. Stage 4, which we have documented in 12 cases so far, involves direct interaction attempts. Dogs begin approaching sleeping humans during the night, moving closer to faces and hands while maintaining complete silence. When the humans wake, the dogs are invariably in normal resting positions, showing no signs of having moved. However, family members report finding evidence of the dog's presence: displaced pillows, sheets pulled slightly out of place, or the distinct smell of dog breath near their faces upon waking. If your dog is exhibiting any of these behaviors, follow these safety instructions immediately.
that's such a normal dog behavior. If we haven't notified it, it will just be near us. But it will not be this close, but you know. Dogs would do that sometimes, but if this is a pattern, yeah, I can see that.
First, do not attempt to interact with your dog during nighttime watching periods. Calling their name, offering treats, or physical contact may trigger escalation to the next behavioral stage. Several families who attempted intervention reported more aggressive positioning and extended vocalization periods the following night. Second, create barriers between your sleeping area and your dog's access points. Close and lock bedroom doors when possible. Dogs exhibiting this behavior have shown remarkable persistence in maintaining their observation
Şandar
No. I love War Thunder, but come on.
Never shown interest in before. Third, do not investigate the sounds yourself. Every household that has attempted to record or document the vocalizations during the night has experienced equipment failure or audio anomalies. More importantly, dogs that realize they are being observed during their watching periods often escalate to more disturbing behaviors. The Chen family, after attempting to videotape their German Shepherd, found the dog had moved from the doorway to standing directly beside their bed by morning, though they had no memory of the animal entering their room. Fourth, maintain normal daytime routines with your pet. During daylight hours, affected dogs return to typical behavior patterns and respond normally to affection and commands. Dramatic changes to their routine or attempts to rehome the animals have resulted in the dogs exhibiting the watching behavior during daytime hours as well. The pattern is expanding beyond individual households. Yesterday, we received reports from 3 different neighborhoods where multiple dogs have begun coordinating their behavior. On Elm Street, 7 dogs from different households have been observed positioned at windows and doors, all facing toward the same house where an elderly couple lives alone. The couple reports no unusual behavior from their own small terrier, but neighbors have documented the other dogs maintaining synchronized watching positions throughout the night. Our animal control officers have attempted to observe affected dogs during the nighttime hours, but the animals consistently return to normal behavior when officials are present. It is as if they can distinguish between family members and outsiders, modifying their behavior accordingly. Dr. Patricia Williams, our consulting veterinarian, has examined 12 affected dogs and found no physical abnormalities, neurological issues, or signs of illness that might explain the behavior changes. More troubling are the reports from families who have temporarily removed their dogs from their homes. The Martinez family took their beagle to stay with relatives Wednesday night, but they report being awakened by the sound of quiet laughter coming from their hallway despite the absence of their pet. When they investigated, they found no source for the sounds, but their security...
Wait. So there's no dogs, but there's still laughing sounds off. Okay, I don't think that's the dogs doing it then.
Security camera showed unexplained shadows moving through areas where their dog typically positioned itself. 2 families have reported their dogs attempting to wake them during the night, but not in the typical manner of nudging or whimpering. Instead, the dogs position themselves inches from sleeping faces and begin the laughing vocalizations at gradually increasing volumes until the humans wake naturally. Upon waking, family members find the dogs in normal sleeping positions, but report the distinct sensation of being watched throughout the night. We are coordinating with neighboring emergency management agencies as reports have begun appearing in adjacent regions. The pattern suggests a systematic behavioral change affecting domestic dogs across a wide geographical area. Our attempts to identify an environmental cause, disease vector, or other conventional explanation...
Okay, hold on. So this thing, right? Let's go back here.
...showed unexplained shadows moving through... They found no source for the sounds, but their security camera showed unexplained shadows moving through areas where their dog typically positioned itself. 2 families have reported their dogs attempting to wake them during the night, but not in the typical manner of nudging or whimpering. Instead, our attempts...
No, freaking go away. Oh my god. Jesus, man. Don't care about your stupid free Gemini or whatever, man. Come on.
To identify an environmental cause, disease vector, or other conventional explanation have been unsuccessful. The behavior appears to have emerged simultaneously across unconnected animal populations without any identifiable trigger event. 3 families have reported that their dogs have begun reacting to empty rooms as if people were sleeping in them. The animals maintain their watching positions directed toward vacant beds or sofas, producing the same quiet laughter while observing spaces that contain no humans. When questioned, these families admitted they had not informed their dogs that certain family members were away from home, suggesting the animal's behavior is not based on routine or expectation. If you live alone with a dog exhibiting these behaviors, do not remain in your home overnight. We have received 14 reports from single-person households where the watching behavior has escalated to more direct interaction. These individuals report waking to find their dogs positioned directly beside their beds, sometimes appearing to mirror their sleeping positions or breathing patterns. One caller described waking to find her dog's face inches from her own, maintaining eye contact while producing the characteristic laughing sounds. The sounds themselves have begun changing in households where the behavior has persisted for multiple nights. Initial reports described quiet, chuckling, or giggling, but families now report hearing what sounds like sustained, amused observation, as if the dogs are witnessing something entertaining that the humans cannot perceive. The vocalizations have grown longer and more complex, sometimes lasting for 20 or 30 minutes without interruption. Most concerning are the reports of dogs reacting to their owners' dreams. The animals appear to respond to nightmare content, increasing their vocalizations during periods of restless sleep or distressing dreams. Several families report that their dog's laughter becomes more intense when the sleeping humans show signs of fear or anxiety, suggesting the animals are somehow aware of their owner's mental states during unconsciousness. We have documented cases where children's dogs have begun focusing their attention on parents rather than their usual young companions. The animals position themselves to observe adult family members while seemingly ignoring the children entirely. In homes with multiple dogs, the animals have begun taking shifts, ensuring continuous observation throughout the night hours. Do not attempt to medicate your dog or seek immediate veterinary intervention unless the animal shows signs of physical distress during daylight hours. The behavior appears to be psychological or behavioral rather than medical, and sedated dogs have shown even more disturbing positioning behavior, maintaining their watching posts despite apparent unconsciousness. This broadcast will repeat every 2 hours until further notice. If your dog is exhibiting these behaviors, report it immediately to your local emergency management office. Do not remain alone with affected animals during nighttime hours. The behavior pattern suggests escalation over time, and we cannot predict what the next stage might involve.
That's an ad. No, that's an ad. Air wax
This is the
remover
world's
tool.
first reuse.
You guys want to talk about earwax? Disgusting. Do not use Q-tips for your ears. Never do that.
This message is issued by the Emergency Coordination Center. Please listen closely and follow the instructions that follow. This is not a drill. If your cat has been pawing persistently at your floors, walls, or basement areas in the past 72 hours, you need to take immediate action.
Ooh.
Do not ignore this behavior. Over the last 4 days, we have received an unprecedented number of reports from homeowners across the Tri-County area regarding unusual feline behavior. What started as isolated calls to our non-emergency line has developed into a pattern that requires immediate public awareness. The reports began Tuesday evening with a single call from Maple Street about a cat acting strangely. By Thursday morning, we had logged over 200 similar incidents. The behavior appears consistent across all reported cases. Cats, both indoor and outdoor, have been observed pawing intensively at specific floor locations, often accompanied by vocalizations described as distressed or urgent. In most cases, the cats focus on areas near basements, crawl spaces, or ground-level rooms. What What makes these reports particularly concerning is that the behavior persists even when the cats are removed from the area and seems to intensify during nighttime hours. Initial investigations suggested typical explanations. Pest control specialists found no evidence of rodent activity. Structural engineers detected no foundation issues or settling problems. Yet the behavior continues, and in several cases has escalated to something far more disturbing. The family on Elmwood Drive first noticed their normally calm Tabby, Oscar, scratching frantically at the kitchen floor near their basement door on Tuesday night. The scratching was so intense it left visible marks on the hardwood. When they opened the basement door to investigate, Oscar immediately ran downstairs and began the same behavior on the concrete floor directly below. The family described hearing what sounded like muffled tapping from beneath the basement floor, but only when Oscar was actively pawing. When the cat stopped, the tapping stopped. When Oscar resumed, the tapping resumed, almost like an echo. The family called a plumber thinking they had a water line issue. The plumber found their pipes in perfect condition but mentioned something odd. He said when he put his ear to the basement floor where Oscar had been scratching, he could hear what sounded like scratching coming back from underneath, even though Oscar was upstairs at the time. The family decided to keep Oscar away from the basement, but he escaped during the night and was found the next morning, still pawing at the same spot, his claws worn down to the quick. Later that night, more calls came in from residents on Birch Lane.
Oh, poor
An
cat.
elderly woman reported that her 3 cats had gathered around a specific area in her living room and were taking turns pawing at the floor. She said they formed what looked like a circle, each cat facing inward, scratching in unison. The sound, she told our dispatcher, was like fingernails on a chalkboard, but it kept a steady rhythm. When she tried to move the cats away, they would return within minutes and resume the exact same positions. What disturbed her most was that she started hearing the scratching continue even after she had locked all 3 cats in her bedroom for the night. She checked multiple times, and the cats were definitely in the bedroom with her, but the scratching downstairs never stopped. She said it sounded like more cats had joined them, maybe dozens, all scratching in that same rhythmic pattern. When she called her neighbor to check her house, the neighbor reported that the scratching could be heard from outside, coming through the floorboards. By Wednesday evening, a couple in Riverside Heights contacted emergency services when their situation escalated beyond simple scratching. Their cat, Whiskers, had been pawing at their bedroom floor for 2 days straight, barely stopping to eat or drink. The couple initially thought it was attention-seeking behavior, but on Wednesday night, Whiskers began vocalizing while pawing. Not typical meowing, but what the woman described as almost conversational sounds, like Whiskers was responding to something. The husband decided to investigate and pulled up the floorboards where Whiskers had been focused. Underneath, in the crawl space, they found dozens of fresh scratches in the wooden support beams. Scratches that couldn't have been made by their cat since Whiskers had never been in the crawl space. The scratches formed patterns, almost like claw marks from something trying to scratch its way up from below. More disturbing, they found tufts of cat fur embedded in the wood, fur that didn't match Whiskers' coloring. When they showed the fur to their veterinarian the next day, the vet confirmed it was feline fur but noted something unusual. The fur showed signs of stress shedding, the kind that happens when cats are in extreme fear or pain. The vet also mentioned that the fur samples appeared to be from multiple different cats, despite coming from the same small area. In another case that came in Thursday morning, a single mother on Oak Street reported that her kitten had been pawing at the bathroom floor for 3 consecutive nights. Each night, the pawing grew more frantic, and the kitten began losing weight despite eating normally. On Thursday morning, she noticed dark stains appearing on the bathroom tiles where the kitten had been scratching. The stains seemed to seep up from below, even though the apartment was on the 2nd floor with only a maintenance room underneath. Building maintenance checked the room below and found no leaks, no water damage, and no explanation for the staining. However, they did report finding dozens of dead mice arranged in neat rows on the maintenance room floor, directly underneath where the kitten had been pawing. The mice showed no signs of poison or disease, and pest control confirmed there had been no recent rodent problem in the building. The mice appeared to have died simultaneously, and all were positioned facing upward, as if they had been looking up at the floor above when they died. We have identified 4 distinct stages in this behavior pattern that every reported case has followed. Understanding these stages may help you recognize the severity of your situation and take appropriate action. Stage 1 is restlessness and focused attention. Your cat will begin showing unusual interest in specific floor areas, often sniffing and examining the same spot repeatedly. This stage typically lasts 12 to 24 hours. During this stage, cats may refuse to walk over the area they're investigating and will instead walk around it, even if it means taking a longer path through the room. Stage 2 involves active pawing and vocalization. The cat will begin scratching at the identified area and may start
I think it
making
would be like a
unusual
massive
sounds,
cat
often
entities.
described as urgent meowing or
The thing is, the first encounter, like, you know, like it was the wooden board incident where like the bedroom floor, he opened it up and it was multiple cat scratching, and it was also like cat stuff everywhere. I thought it was just cats doing it, and I mean, maybe the house cat was preventing it from, you know, scratching it way up, like it was protecting the house. I'm seeing a little pattern. Every affected individual, quote unquote, affected individual, is trying to guard or protect the family. They're like doing something for, quote unquote, protecting the family. I mean, that's what's happening here. Like it's at the end of the day, that's the thing they're trying to do. But I think it just get altered in the pursuit of the entity that is controlling them. Well, obviously it's goats, because you guys remember the dog laughing. It was happening even if there was no dogs in it. There was like a weird shadow things were outside and doing the laughing. So I don't think it's just the dogs. I think these are just entities that is like possessing these things to do things, and the laughter is like the manifest of those entities instead of the dogs doing it. Dogs or cats or people doing it. You know what I mean? That this type of like, it mimics us, and the uncanny valley, like it really just triggers something stupendously basic and primal inside us, because mimicking or like unusual pattern behavior like scares us beyond it. You guys remember The Thing, right? The movie, The Thing. Like the scariest part is any of us could be like the alien that could kill all of us. The Thing was literally Among Us before Among Us was even a thing. So you know, that's the thing. We are basically playing Among Us with the entities now, so that's fun.
chattering.
This is literally Among Us IRL. Oh god, I'm gonna stop
This
talking now.
stage can last anywhere from 1 to 3 days. Owners report that attempts to distract the cat are temporarily successful, but the cat always returns to the same spot.
No, I don't care if you can write grammatically correct. Do not be in my video. Shut up.
Some cats during this stage will bring toys or dead prey to the area and leave them there. Stage 3 is characterized by persistent behavior and physical signs of distress. The cat will show single-minded focus on the area, often refusing food and water to continue pawing. Claws may become worn or damaged, and the cat may develop raw paw pads from constant scratching. This stage typically lasts 2 to 4 days, during which owners report that the cat seems to be responding to sounds or movement that humans cannot detect. Stage 4 is the escalation phase, and this is where immediate intervention becomes almost frantic, and many owners report that their pet seems to be trying to communicate something urgent. Cats in this stage may attempt to lead their owners to the area, pawing at them and then returning to the floor spot. Some cats begin bringing household items to the area, including important objects like keys, jewelry, or family photos, as if making some kind of offering or memorial. If your cat is exhibiting any of these behaviors, you must take
The thing is, this is the only entity where it needs an intervention, or else, you know, the cat's in big trouble.
the following safety precautions immediately. First, do not allow your cat to continue pawing at the identified area. While this may seem harmless, every case that has progressed beyond stage 2 has resulted in unexplained complications. Gently redirect your cat's attention and physically block access to the area if necessary. Second, do not investigate the area yourself by removing floorboards or attempting to dig. Multiple homeowners who have excavated these areas have reported finding disturbing items that appear to have been deliberately placed there. These discoveries have, in every case, led to escalated paranormal activity in the home. One family found what appeared to be a collection of cat collars buried beneath their foundation, including a collar bearing their current cat's name, despite their cat wearing a different collar. Third, document your cat's behavior with photos or video, but do not share these recordings on social media. We have received reports that footage of this behavior, when viewed by other cat owners, appears to trigger similar behavior in their pets. Keep your documentation private and submit it to the Emergency Coordination Center if requested. Fourth, monitor your cat for signs of stage 4 behavior, particularly the bringing of personal items to the pawing area. If this occurs, remove the items immediately, but do not scold the cat. Cats in stage 4 are
Oh, don't scold the cat. Oh, it's
attempting
cute.
to communicate something critical, and punishment may escalate their distress. Instead, calmly remove the items and consider temporary relocation of your pet. Finally, if you hear scratching, tapping, or movement sounds coming from below the area your cat is identified, evacuate your home immediately and contact emergency services. Do not attempt to investigate these sounds yourself. Multiple families have reported that investigating these sounds has led to the discovery of spaces beneath their homes that should not exist according to building plans and city records. Our dispatchers have begun noticing a troubling pattern in the timing of these reports. The initial calls came in sporadically, but over the past 2 days, the reports are clustering around specific times. Most calls now come in between 3:17 and 3:23 a.m., always within that 6-minute window. Dispatchers report that callers often mention hearing other cats in their neighborhood vocalizing at the exact same time their own cat is pawing, suggesting a coordinated response to something we don't yet understand. More concerning, we have identified several addresses where families reported this behavior, but have since gone silent. These homes no longer answer follow-up calls, and wellness checks have found the properties apparently abandoned, though neighbors report seeing lights and movement inside during nighttime hours. In each case, the family's cats have been found living in the yards, but they refuse to enter the houses and exhibit extreme fear when approached. Building inspectors who have examined these abandoned properties report finding extensive tunnel systems beneath the foundations, tunnels that don't appear on any city utility maps or building permits. These tunnels appear to be recent excavations, but they show signs of being clawed out from below, not dug from above. Most disturbing, these tunnel systems connect multiple houses in the same neighborhoods, creating an underground network that spans several city blocks. Veterinary experts we've consulted suggest that cats possess sensory capabilities that allow them to detect underground movement, changes in air pressure, and subsonic vibrations that humans cannot perceive. What they cannot explain is why this sensitivity would suddenly activate simultaneously across hundreds of cats in our area, or why the cats seem to be trying to communicate their findings to their human families. If your cat is exhibiting the pawing behavior described in this broadcast, You must take immediate action to protect both your pet and your family. Do not assume this is normal feline behavior, and do not delay in implementing the safety protocols outlined earlier. The families who ignored early warning signs are the ones who are no longer available for contact. This broadcast will repeat every 30 minutes until further notice. If you who have reported this cat behavior, contact emergency services immediately for a wellness check. Remember, silence from affected households is not a sign that the situation has resolved. In the darkness beneath our homes, something is calling to our cats, and they are trying to warn us. Listen to them before it's too late.
See, cats are good. Come on, guys. Anyway. Okay, I seen through this. There's so much more videos. There's so much more videos to go. There's just so many stuff to do. So yeah. So it's been 3.5 hours from now. So I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna pick this up later. I might pick this up series like tomorrow because I stream every day now, so I can just watch this tomorrow. I can continue this from there. So yeah. This could be ghosts. This could be aliens. Could be any of them now. So yeah, I'm just gonna see this whole series through till we get what the heck's going on. So thank you everyone for joining by. I really appreciate it. Special thank you and my top fan Pa for being here from the beginning. Thank you for coming by, much appreciated. I love how the immediate second is freaking Streamlabs. And third, thank you for coming by. I really appreciate it, Mr. Lord. And fourth, Ace Lee, thank you for looking. My comment really did spook him. I want to read his response back. Where is he? Bro, I was just looking. I heard you say that. It really spooked him, didn't it? God. That's funny. I don't know about you, but that's funny. The amount of ad jump scare. I really don't want to give my money to YouTube, man. They're not giving me any money at all. So I don't want to give them any money. Who cares? So yeah, I unfortunately about the serious jump scare, you guys have to endure the ad jump scare if I'm gonna react. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming by and showing up to the stream. Really appreciate every single one of you. Thank you everyone for looking too. Really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm just gonna take my leave. I'm having a severe back pain now, so yeah, I'm just gonna hit the hay and just sleep. So yeah, I'm just gonna take my leave now. Thank you for coming by, much appreciated. And as always, I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.